Douluo Dalu. Life or Death Pact. It begins with a forced kiss to Qian Renxue. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51. Chu Ye madly cuts down the titled Douluo, but the shocking scene has not stopped, and Chu Ye's offensive has not stopped. He quickly rushed towards Snake Spear Douluo, and the fiery 50,000-year-old torso bone behind him appeared in front of everyone for the first time. That's trunk bone. Chu Ye has a 10,000-year-old torso bone. From the quality of this piece, it may have reached 50,000 years. It is the best of the best in the soul bones. The definition of soul bones on the mainland is that 10,000 years is the best, and 50,000 years is the best of the best. Seeing the appearance of Chu Ye's phoenix torso bone, the ordinary elders were also shocked, because even they didn't have this level of soul bones. This child, when did he absorb a 10,000-year soul bone? Even I don't know. Bai Bai Dong was also a little surprised in her heart, but she was also a little angry that Chu Ye didn't tell her the first time. Swear, save your soul power, and leave it to me next. Phoenix torso soul bone skill, Phoenix fire. Correction. Flames rose from the trunk bones, quickly forming a huge flame bird. The flame bird soared into the sky and fell towards Snake Spear Douluo at an astonishing speed. The fourth soul skill, swift and resolute. Snake Spear Douluo couldn't figure out what soul bone skill this was, but as a soul bone skill of 50,000 years, he didn't dare to underestimate the enemy and directly hit the flame bird above. But the fire of the phoenix is not an offensive soul skill at all, but a group restriction skill, which will be formed regardless of whether it is restricted by attack or not. What? The phoenix was instantly defeated by Snake Spear Douluo, but it turned into countless flames and fell to the ground, and quickly formed a huge fire circle, surrounding Snake Spear Douluo and Chu Ye. The fire circle will quickly consume Snake Spear Douluo's soul power and physical strength. At this moment, the two stood face to face in the fire circle. These flames are quickly making me weak and evaporating my soul power. Snake Spear Douluo's face was ugly, but what made him look back was not these flames in a fast-consuming state, but that he was chocked by Chu Ye just now. A titled Douluo was chocked by a soul master, which made him very embarrassed. Elder Snake Spear, did you feel comfortable with it just now? Chu Ye grinned, deliberately provoking the other party. Snake Spear Douluo was furious when Chu Ye mocked him. This is what a strong person is like, or a person who thinks he is superior to others. It is extremely unbearable to be mocked by someone whose identity, status, and strength are far inferior to oneself. And Chu Ye wanted to provoke Snake Spear to take the initiative to attack, because his third soul skill, the God and Demon 36 consecutive slashes, although the lethality is terrible, but if the first slash is avoided, it can't be combo dead. However, as long as the enemy is allowed to take the initiative to attack and release this move in a defensive state, the probability of continuous slashes is 100%. At this moment, Snake Spear Douluo's face was a big ferocious. Very good. You are very good. Today, I will pin you to the ground and beat you to a pulp. Oh, you're indeed a family. Your grandson also likes to beat others to a pulp, but I beat your grandson to a pulp. You'll have the same result. Chu Ye continued to mock. How shameless. Snake Spear was furious, and he blasted Chu Ye mercilessly with a spear. The opportunity has come. Chu Ye re-released his third soul skill, and the black 10,000-year soul ring appeared under his feet. Third soul skill, 36 consecutive slashes of gods and demons. Chu Ye flashed away in an instant. The two are like a parallel line about to connect. The moment the sword and the spear collided head-on, Chu Ye's figure disappeared again before he even had time to fight. What a fast speed, what's going on? Snake Spear Douluo didn't even have time to react, Chu Ye had already slashed from another direction. Ding! He blocked the slash with his martial soul spear, but Chu Ye's figure disappeared again and switched positions to slash again. Snake Spear. Now, it's your turn to be beaten. Strange soul skill, is it continuous? Snake Spear can still deal with it now, sneering. Ha, is that all you can do? How can you hurt me? Really? Then let's see how many of my slashes you can block. Rest. 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 Bang bang bang. Chu Ye's rhythm is full, his body is so fast that it is almost invisible to the naked eye. He switches back and forth, and slashes Snake Spear Douluo frantically from various angles. 3 slashes. 4 slashes. 5 slashes. 10 slashes. 15 slashes. Chu Ye's speed, strength, and power become stronger and faster. Snake Spear Douluo finally began to struggle. 20 slashes. 25 slashes. Snake Spear Douluo finally couldn't bear it, and it was almost at the limit of what he could resist. There was no smile on his face. 26 slashes. Puff. Ah. Snake Spear Douluo was finally slashed by Chu Ye, and screams rang out in the fire circle. Snake Spear Elder, what are you screaming about? Why aren't you laughing anymore? Laugh. Keep laughing. Chu Ye's face was fierce. Damn you. 27 slashes. 28 slashes. Puff. Ah. Snake Spear Douluo was hit almost every 2 slashes. By the 30th slash, Snake Spear was completely unable to resist. 31 slashes. 32 slashes. Every subsequent slash hit Snake Spear Douluo hard, and he could only use his soul power to protect himself and reduce the damage. Aren't you going to completely shatter my self-confidence? What's going on now, Snake Spear Elder? Chu Ye slashed at Snake Spear Douluo. 33 slashes. 34 slashes. 35 slashes. Puff. Ah. Snake Spear screamed one after another. Seeing Snake Spear Douluo being slashed by Chu Ye in the fire circle, at this moment, everyone was shocked and speechless. So what if you're a titled Douluo? You're still under my feet. 36 slashes. The strongest power was concentrated on this last slash. The sword of gods and demons once again emitted a terrifying light and darkness. With Chu Ye's drive, it slashed at Snake Spear Douluo head on. Boom boom boom. Puff, ah, damn it. I was actually played like this by this kid. Snake Spear Douluo spit out a mouthful of blood, and his body flew out of the fire circle and hit the stone wall at the edge of the battle platform. Titled Douluo is nothing more than this. Chu Ye's extremely domineering voice and spirit once again echoed in everyone's ears. The fire circle dissipated, Chu Ye held the sword of gods and demons in his hand, and his body stood upright. At this moment, his posture was as majestic as a god in the eyes of all the disciples. So handsome. So damn handsome. I want to marry him. I want to give birth to his baby. Brother. Calm down. You're a man, you're a man. The disciples were almost crazy, and many of them even lost their minds. They were so excited by Chu Ye's moment that their blood was boiling. Damn it. Damn you, kid. A mere soul master made me so embarrassed. Chapter 52. 2 bodies and 1 divine angel. Explosive Snake Spear. Snake Spear Douluo stood up in a very embarrassed manner, his expression was completely ferocious. Being beaten like this by a soul master, he was extremely embarrassed. If it were to be spread out, he would probably be laughed at by the world and become a shame among the titled Douluo. The reason why Snake Spear Douluo suffered such a tragic defeat was that he underestimated the enemy and was completely unfamiliar with Chu Ye's abilities. Chu Ye was actually very clear that if Snake Spear Douluo was fully familiar with all his soul skills, if he was given another chance, he would never be able to beat Snake Spear Douluo like this again. Chu Ye's performance was really amazing. However, although he dealt a heavy blow to Snake Spear, the titled Douluo was defeated just like this, and this kid's soul power and state have declined too much now. Almost all the soul skills have been used, right? Next, they will find it difficult to resist the Snake Spear. This battle will not be won after all. Ghost Douluo analyzed. Douluo didn't think so, his eyes were fascinated. But I think this kid can still create miracles. Yuan, I know you like this kid very much, but are you a little crazy? How can you win now? Douluo shook his orchid finger. Old Ghost, you don't understand. Alas. Ghost Douluo shook his head. You have completely angered me. At this moment, Snake Spear Douluo's aura was fully open, and he was completely serious. Really? So, what are you going to do? Chu Ye's mouth corners slightly raised. Although his current state is indeed almost at the limit, everything is still under his control. 5th soul skill. Snake Spear Douluo floated in the sky, terrifying thunder flashed, accompanied by a domineering lightning spear. Thunder explosion kill. I'm waiting for this move of yours. Activate the passive of the Phoenix. Bang. Boom boom boom. The terrible power hit Chu Ye, but he was not knocked down as imagined, but was protected by the flames. At the same time, his physical strength and soul power recovered to 50% in a short time. Chu Ye is using Snake Spear Douluo to recover. This is impossible. Snake Spear Douluo couldn't believe it. Even his 5th soul skill couldn't handle it. He was going crazy. How could it be so difficult to defeat a soul master? I don't believe you can block my 6th soul skill. 6th soul skill, golden snake out of the cave. A huge golden snake appeared in front of Snake Spirit Luo. It opened its huge snake mouth and bit horribly. Chu Ye, it's time to let them see our true strength. Okay, let them see it. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue looked at each other. Even in the face of such a terrible 6th soul skill, their faces were still full of confidence. Their hands were tightly clasped together, and the soul rings under their feet merged rapidly. Now they were going to use their real trump card. That's it. Martial Soul Fusion Technique Qian Dalu, bye bye dong, all the elders, everyone widened their eyes. Martial Soul Fusion Skill, Angel Demon Destroyer. At this moment, a huge 6-winged angel appeared behind the two of them, and golden light enveloped the entire venue. In front of the angel, there were 2 huge swords floating, one of which was shining and the other was extremely dark. As the huge angel swung, the 2 swords seemed to carry the power to destroy everything and flew towards the huge golden snake. The 2 swords instantly penetrated through the snake's mouth. Boom! With a loud bang, the golden snake was directly defeated. How is it impossible? Snake Spirit Luo looked at the sword that had arrived in front of him, his face showed horror, and the next second he was directly blown away. Snake Spirit Luo's body smashed a deep pit in the surrounding solid stone wall on the spot. Under this blow, Snake Spirit Luo was completely seriously injured and covered in blood. What a terrifying power of martial soul fusion skill. Can this be played by a soul master and a soul ancestor? Everyone was no longer shocked, but shocked. But Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's performance was not over yet. Chu Ye glanced at the hourglass next to him, and there were probably only 3 minutes left. Now, the stage for this battle will truly belong to us. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's spirits merged again. Onlookers. Fuck. More. 2 bodies and 1 spirit fusion skill. Angel of Gods and Demons. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's bodies merged into one, becoming a 6-winged angel, but not like a 6-winged angel. Half of its body is white, half is black, half is full of holiness and light, and half is full of evil and darkness. One hand holds the light sword of gods and demons, and the other hand holds the dark sword of gods and demons. Even the wings behind it are the same, half light and half dark. This is the Angel of Gods and Demons. Looking at the humanoid fusion body emitting a terrible aura in the sky, Snake Spirit Luo felt like crying. If it was at its peak, it might be suppressed, but now it is completely defeated. Snake Spear, dare you respond to my sword? The Angel of Gods and Demons looked down, and the hollow voice echoed between heaven and earth. It was as if a god was judging him. The aura and momentum exuded made Snake Spirit Luo feel fear in his heart. He stood up with difficulty. There were only 3 minutes left, so he had to fight to the last moment. The next second, the god and demon angel slashed down with both light and dark. Bang! Ah! Snake Spirit Luo tried his best to resist, but his legs could not bear the force and were pressed to the ground, kneeling on his knees. There was no doubt that the next battle would be one-sided. Bang! 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 Ah! Snake Spirit Luo was beaten wildly by the god and demon angel, from the ground to the sky, and from the sky to the ground, being beaten back and forth, without any power to fight back. The remaining 3 minutes were all spent on being beaten. Too strong, too strong. The whole audience was silent, leaving only the screams of Snake Spirit Luo. Soon, there were only a few seconds left. The god and demon angel also condensed the last energy and instantly slashed at Snake Spirit Luo. Bang! The terrifying power directly blasted a huge pit on the ground. Snake Spirit Luo lay in the huge pit, his eyes white, foaming at the mouth, and completely lost his ability to fight. The gods, demons and angels disintegrated, and the figures of Chu Ye and Qian Renxue emerged. The time was up, and the winner was decided. No one expected such a result, and they were shocked. This battle only allowed Chu Ye and Qian Renxue to survive half an incense stick in the hands of Snake Spirit Luo, but in the end, they actually knocked Snake Spirit Luo down. Countless people gasped, all with stunned expressions, and the whole audience was silent for 10 seconds. Then there was an extremely intense, excited, and boiling cheer. Douluo said, "Old ghost, do you still think I'm crazy now?" This ghost Douluo didn't know what to say. Qian Dalu was also very excited. I really didn't expect that Chu Ye and Xiaoxiu actually developed 2 martial soul fusion skills. With their current cultivation, they are so powerful. It can be seen that the degree of martial soul fit is very high. Chapter 53. Snake Spear defeats. Qian Renxue's kiss. The defeat of Snake Spear Douluo will also mean that one of the two core strategies of the infiltration plan, Qian Renxue's lurking in the Tiando Palace, will be cancelled. But Qian Dalu was even happier because he saw Chu Ye's potential and the strength of Chu Ye and Qian Renxue working together. They began to believe that perhaps keeping Qian Renxue and cultivating Chu Ye and Qian Renxue for 20 years could really create greater value than Qian Renxue's lurking in the Tiando Palace. All the titled Douluo elders were also completely convinced. What they did was what they did. They were willing to change their original ideas and believe in the value that Chu Ye could bring in the future. But at the same time, in the future, their expectations and hopes for Chu Ye will be even greater. Amid the cheers of the audience, Chu Ye slowly pulled up Qian Renxue's hand, with a gentle smile on his face. Chu Ye, we won, we succeeded. From now on, you don't have to force yourself to go to the Tiando Palace, you can do whatever you want. Qian Renxue's eyes suddenly wet with tears, and the emotions and pressure accumulated in the past 2.5 years seemed to be released at this moment. Thank you, Chu Ye. Qian Renxue's hands gently stroked Chu Ye's cheeks, and in public, she slowly kissed Chu Ye's lips. Chu Ye, you. Chu Ye's body stiffened in place, his heart pounding. Although the two kissed once when they bound the life and death contract, they almost didn't feel anything that time. Now it was a real kiss. This made Chu Ye feel the feeling of kissing a girl for the first time, as if he could make the whole person fall into it and couldn't extricate himself. The inexperienced Chu Ye seemed a little at a loss, and before he even remembered to respond, he was interrupted by Qian Dalu's loud cough. Ahem. What are you doing in public? Qian Renxue had just kissed him in a fit of rage, but her grandfather's voice sobered her up instantly, and she quickly pulled back her pink lips. The two were a little embarrassed and a little immature, and shyly distanced themselves. At this time, Bai Dong's voice sounded from above. I declare. From today on, Chu Ye will be officially canonized as the Holy Son of the Spirit Hall. We pay our respects to the Holy Son. Except for the elders, all the others knelt on one knee and knelt in front of Chu Ye. At this moment, Chu Ye was almost at the pinnacle of power and status in the Spirit Hall, and even ordinary elders had to be in awe of him. Everyone stand up. Chu Ye said. Yes. Everyone stood up slowly. Today's competition ends here, everyone go away. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, you two come with us to the Elder Hall. After a moment, the crowd dispersed. Bai Dong, the elders of Qian Dalu, as well as Chu Ye and Qian Renxue all gathered in the Elder Hall. Chu Ye, you have now fulfilled my 3 requests. According to the agreement, the infiltration plan and Qian Renxue's lurking in the Tiando Palace will be cancelled. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue smiled at each other. They were not surprised by this result. It was impossible for a great priest of the Spirit Hall to go back on his word and turn against them at this time. Qian Dalu continued, Chu Ye's lurking in the Tiando Palace, as one of the 2 core strategies of the infiltration plan, has been cancelled, but it also means that you will assume greater responsibilities in the future. You must demonstrate greater value than this plan, so that everyone will truly believe that the current decision is correct. Golden Crocodile Douluo interjected, yes, our goal of the Spirit Hall is to unify the continent. And you're the young master of the Spirit Hall and the son of the Spirit Hall, you should shoulder this important task. In the future, show us some results. See what you can bring to the great cause of the Spirit Hall to unify the continent. Chu Ye's face was serious. Of course it is to bring victory. Chu Ye and I will use practical actions to prove our contribution. We will work together to let the Spirit Hall rule this continent in this era. The Spirit Hall will win. Chu Ye's eyes were extremely firm. Okay. I hope you are not just talking. Your Majesty the Pope, the Great Priest, and the Elders, time will prove everything. Chu Ye's face was full of strong confidence. In fact, even if they did not control the Tiando imperial power through Qian Renxue, the probability of the Spirit Hall unifying the continent is very high. As long as they develop according to their original plan, they can successfully complete the soul hunting operation in the next 10 years and destroy the 7 treasures glazed sect and the blue lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family. Then they can launch another core strategy of the infiltration plan. On the grounds that 2 of the 3 sects were destroyed and 1 was in seclusion, they can re-elect the 7 major sects, quickly control a large number of Soul Masters, and the power of most of the Soul Master world, and then trigger a victory and finally take down the 2 empires of Xingluo and Tiando. There is no big problem in unifying the continent. The only problem is actually Tang San and the people at Shriek Academy. The threat that Tang San brought to the spirit hall is not only the strong strength, but also that Tang sect he built. In fact, it is also because after the ambition of the spirit hall was exposed, the means were too tough. If you don't join the spirit hall, you will be the enemy of the spirit hall by coercion, which led to some soul master families and sects to join the two empires. Therefore, Tang San successfully won over the Blacksmith Association and the four major families with single attributes of breaking, defense, agility, and strength. The Tang sect grew rapidly with the four single attribute families as the core. With the existence of the Blacksmith Association, a large number of hidden weapons were produced. Hidden weapons are a great threat to large-scale wars and can obviously bring huge advantages to the Imperial Army. In addition to Tang San's influence, the Asian sect came out to fight against the Spirit Hall, bringing top combat power, as well as the indirect influence of many of Tang San's actions, and finally the Spirit Hall was defeated. As a time traveler, Chu Ye knew very well which factors would lead to the failure of the Spirit Hall. He only needed to eliminate and solve these troubles one by one, and even he needed to deal with Tang San alone, and the Spirit Hall's pace of unifying the continent would be unstoppable. And it was too simple to do this. Even if Tang San didn't have to be killed at all, Chu Ye didn't need to do anything, maybe just rob the fairy grass resources, which greatly affected Tang San's development and growth. Everything would change through chain reactions and butterfly effects, which would lead to the outcome leaning towards the Spirit Hall. Of course, Chu Ye would make it easier for the Spirit Hall to unify the continent, and he now has a clear plan and direction for the future. However, for now, cultivation is still the main thing. After all, Chu Ye's strength must be strong enough. Afterwards, Bai Bai Dong summoned Chu Ye alone and asked where the 50,000-year-old immortal bird trunk bone came from. Chu Ye naturally couldn't tell Bai Bai Dong that the system gave it to him, so he could only think of a reason. Chapter 54. The place where the spirit bones of the spirit hall is stored, the surprising number. For example, last time when Douluo took him to the Qingdou Great Forest to obtain the second spirit ring, he was lucky enough to pick it up. Picked it up? Joy, is he so lucky? Bai Bai Dong was half believing and half doubting, but there seemed to be no other possibility except picking it up. There are indeed many opportunities in places like the Qingdou Great Forest. It is not ruled out that after the spirit master enters the forest, he is killed by a spirit beast and the existing spirit bones fall, or the spirit beasts hunt each other, and one of them dies and the spirit bones explode. Then someone is lucky enough to pick it up. And this situation has indeed happened on the mainland. Oh, maybe my luck is just that good. Chu Ye smiled awkwardly. He decided to tell Bai Bai Dong that the age of soul bones can be improved, and also used this to change the subject. By the way, teacher, my torso bone can improve the age of my soul bones by absorbing other soul bones. Oh? It's so effective. Bai Bai Dong was a little surprised and asked quickly, how many years can it be improved to? As long as there are enough soul bones for me to absorb, it won't be a problem for the phoenix to reach 1,000,000 years. Chu Ye said truthfully. This Bai Bai Dong was shocked, but she suddenly thought of something and quickly covered Chu Ye's mouth. Chu Ye, from now on, you can't tell anyone about this, even the elders of our Wihun Hall. People's hearts are unpredictable. If people know about it, it will definitely lead to a fatal disaster. Who wouldn't be tempted by such a soul bone that can be infinitely improved? Bai Bai Dong was actually also tempted. Let alone 1,000,000 years, it is not difficult to improve it to a level of 100,000 years. How many soul bones of 100,000 years can there be in the world? Even the elders of his own family may be tempted by it if they are not careful. They may kill people and explode their bones because of greed. I understand, teacher, don't worry. Chu Ye will definitely not talk nonsense everywhere. Before he has the strength, he holds the treasure that the top strong people desire. It is a very dangerous thing, so only Qian Renxue and Bai Bai Dong know this effect. And the reason why he told Bai Bai Dong is actually for another plan. Teacher, our Wihun Hall should have a lot of extra soul bones, right? Hehe, you kid, don't you want to absorb the soul bones stored in our Wihun Hall? Bai Bai Dong smiled and quickly saw through his thoughts. Hehe, teacher still understands me. Let's go, Joy, I'll take you to the place where the soul bones are stored. Bai Bai Dong was very straightforward. Teacher, each soul bone is a priceless treasure. Will others have any objections if I absorb it like this? Chu Ye said. I wonder who dares to object? Bai Bai Dong smiled indifferently, and then added, you are my Bai Bai Dong's direct disciple, and now the holy son of the Spirit Hall. With your identity, no one will have any objection to getting a few soul bones. Besides, the spirit hall has a 1,000-year heritage, and the soul bones stored are far more than you can imagine. Many soul bones have been stored for 100 years and no one has absorbed them. It would be a waste to leave them there. It's better to give you some to absorb. But not too much, and I can't directly give you the 10,000-year level. After all, 10,000 years are too rare. But in the future, you can exchange soul bones through your own efforts. I understand. Now I am satisfied that I can absorb a few soul bones. Chu Ye said in a good mood. The efforts that Bai Bai Dong refers to are the contributions made to the Spirit Hall, such as carrying out the tasks assigned by the Spirit Hall, or seeking benefits, interests, and various aspects for the Spirit Hall, and accumulating personal contribution points. You can exchange for cultivation resources, or good things such as soul bones and soul guides in the Spirit Hall. Chu Ye followed Bai Bai Dong to the place where the soul bones were stored with anticipation. A moment later, the two arrived here. The surrounding area was full of soldiers and soul masters guarding, and the security was very strict. After Bai Bai Dong and Chu Ye arrived, they signaled the guards to open the door and walked in directly. Soon, Chu Ye saw all the soul bones stored in the spirit hall. Each soul bone was emitting light, but the most dazzling was the soul bone that reached the 10,000-year level, emitting colorful light. Oh my god, there are at least hundreds of soul bones here. It's worthy at the spirit hall with 1,000 years of heritage. Chu Ye was shocked by the scene in front of him. It was the first time in his life that he saw so many soul bones. Ha, it's shocking, right? When I first came here, I felt the same as you. Bai Bai Dong smiled and took Chu Ye into the soul bones. Chu Ye nodded, but he was a little puzzled. With thousands of years of heritage in the spirit hall, he was not surprised that hundreds of soul bones could be exploded, but he was a little surprised that so many were stored here. Teacher, according to what you said, our spirit hall soul masters can exchange soul bones through contribution points, although the contribution points required are very large and few people can do it. But there are many soul masters in our spirit hall. After thousands of years of inheritance, there'll always be people who will exchange soul bones. Why are there still hundreds of soul bones in stock here? Bai Bai Dong explained with a smile. Hehe, absorbing soul bones is a lifelong thing. Soul masters who have reached the soul Douluo level and above actually look down on those below 5,000 years, unless they are extremely compatible. And it is difficult for soul masters from the soul sent to the soul sect level to exchange for 1,000-year soul bone through contribution points, and they look down on 100 years. As for soul masters below the soul sect, their strength is too weak. Even if they carry 100-year soul bone, they are easily targeted and killed. Therefore, only a small number of people can exchange for soul bones. In addition, if there is no direct descendant to inherit after the total exchange of soul bones, the spirit hall will eventually take it back. I see. Chu Ye was communicating with Bai Bai Dong while looking at the various soul bones placed by the wayside, in different parts. There were hundreds of years, thousands of years, and even tens of thousands of years. The 10,000-year soul bones were placed in the center, with nearly 10 of them. Chu Ye recognized 3 of them at a glance. The wisdom skull of spiritual concentration. The right arm bone of blasting and burning flames. The left leg bone of chasing the wind of extreme speed. These 3 10,000-year soul bones were exactly the soul bones that the future Wihun Hall would take out as the champion of the Soul Master competition. They were originally prepared by Bai Bai Dong for Liana, Yan, and Qiu, but she didn't expect that they would be rocked by Shriek Academy later. Come with me. Bai Bai Dong just wanted Chu Ye to widen his eyes, but she didn't intend to let him absorb the 10,000-year level. Then the two came to an area of soul bones, and she said, "These soul bones in front of us are all soul bones with very weak additional skill effects. They have not been absorbed by anyone for a long time, and have been sealed here for hundreds of years. Now, you can pick one that is 5,000 years old, and 2 that are about 1,000 years old." "Okay, teacher." Chu Ye nodded and slowly walked towards the batch of soul bones. Chapter 55. Going out for training, the 3 wretched musketeers, Douluo, Qian Yang, and Ikao. Different soul bones have different skills, so naturally there are also some with very weak skills that are useless and are not chosen by others. But for Chu Ye, it doesn't matter whether it is weak or not, as long as the age is high, so he decisively chose a 5,000-year-old soul bone for the head, and 2 1,500-year-old soul bones for the right leg and left arm and took them out. "Thank you, teacher. I will absorb them when I go back." "Ha, go, shall we?" Bai Bai Dong smiled faintly. Saying goodbye to Bai Bai Dong, Chu Ye immediately went home to absorb the 3 soul bones. After the absorption, the phoenix trunk bone has reached 58,000 years, and also obtained the amplification characteristics of these three soul bones. They are the mental power improvement of the head, the wind attribute resistance and a small amount of speed blessing of the right leg, and the water attribute resistance of the left arm. In particular, the mental power increase is very obvious. Chu Ye's mental power is different from that of ordinary people. After this wave of absorption, he feels that his mental power is probably no less than that of a soul emperor. Very good. Now the phoenix is still 42,000 years away from 100,000 years. If I continue to practice in the Pope's palace, I'm afraid I won't have much chance to absorb soul bones. It's better to go out for training. Maybe there will be a chance to absorb a few soul bones. Chu Ye suddenly had the idea of going out for training. After more than 3 years in this world, Chu Ye has been almost in Wuhan City. He has only been out of Noting City once. It's time for him to go out and see the outside world. When he is out there, he can accept the tasks assigned by the local Wuhan branch hall, carry out the tasks and fight, do justice, and experience real fighting and life and death to hone himself and improve his practical experience. He can also make contributions to the continent and the Soul Master world, and at the same time earn contribution points to exchange for soul bones. The chance of obtaining soul bones is also great, and he can also challenge the sword masters on the continent to improve his sword intent. No matter how you think about it, training outside is faster than staying in the Wuhan Hall. However, for ordinary soul masters, they only go for training after graduating from the academy. After all, their strength is too weak. Most students are only in their 20s or 30s after graduation, and they are soul masters if they are bald. If you don't have the qualifications to experience and venture out on the mainland before graduation, it is very easy to fail. But Chu Ye's strength is enough. If Qian Renxue is added, the two of them are fully capable of traveling around the mainland. It's decided. Asks where if she wants to go. Chu Ye called out through telepathy. Zwaya, do you want to go out with me to experience? Experience? Great. In fact, I have wanted to go out to explore for a long time. When are we leaving? Qian Renxue was very excited. Tomorrow, I will ask the teacher later. Okay, then I will tell Grandpa too. Okay. The two of them split up, one went to find Qian Dalu and the other went to find Bai Bai Dong to tell them that they were going out to experience. Bai Bai Dong and Qian Dalu both thought it was too early, but after Chu Ye and Qian Renxue insisted several times, the two finally agreed to their decision. So Chu Ye and Qian Renxue went home to pack their luggage and set off the next day. The next morning, the two are already on the road. On the way out of Wuhan City, Qian Renxue asked, Chu Ye, are we going to Xingluo Empire or Tiando Empire? Chu Ye thought about it and was more familiar with Tiando Empire. Let's go to Tiando Empire. The strength of the soul masters in Tiando Empire is weaker than that of Xingluo, and the public security is not as good as that of Xingluo. In this way, we can do more. Okay, I'll listen to your arrangement. After the two agreed, they began to move towards the territory of Tiando Empire and officially began their experience and adventure of traveling around the continent. Unknowingly, a few months later, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue had passed through many villages, towns, and 1 or 2 small cities. On the way, they solved a lot of robbers, bandits, and also cooperated with the Wuhan branch hall to capture some soul master criminals and soul beasts that broke into the human world to cause chaos. They also experienced several fierce battles, and their strength, experience, and state of mind have grown a lot. In the name of the soul masters of the Wuhan hall, they have been chivalrous and just, eliminating violence and protecting the good, and have also witnessed the coldness of this world. There are many soul master families and soul master forces that oppress the people. There are even many local officials and nobles in the Tiando Empire who do nothing, bully, and exploit the common people. Of course, in the Wuhan hall, whose power covers almost the entire continent, there are also a few bad apples who do some shameless collusion in the local branch halls. In just a few months, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue seem to have a completely new understanding of this world. On this day, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue set out again, intending to get closer to the central area of the Tiando Empire. On the way, Chu Ye looked at the map in his hand and said with interest, Zwaya, if we go in this direction, we will pass 1 or 2 small cities and we will be near Shenfeng City and Chihou City. Seeing that Chu Ye seemed to be quite interested, Qian Renxue asked, what's special about Shenfeng City and Chihou City? In her opinion, these are just 2 medium-sized cities. Chu Ye smiled and said, Nothing much, but there are two very famous Extreme Flow Soul Master Academies in these two cities, Blazing Fire Academy and Divine Wind Academy, which I am quite interested in. Oh, I know Divine Wind Academy and Blazing Fire Academy. They are one of the 5 elemental academies. They can basically enter the top 16 inches every Soul Master competition. They are two very powerful academies. Yes, let's go and see them when we pass by. Sure. The two of them were talking and laughing as they moved forward. At this time, a very obscene voice suddenly sounded around them. Huh. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue frowned slightly. Ahili. Where are you two young people going in front of the road? 3 soul masters who were nearly 40 years old had appeared and blocked there. One was 1.8 meters tall, one was 1.7 meters tall, and one was 1.6 meters tall. They stood in a row from tall to short, all wearing hats and posing in a similar posture to Michael Jackson, looking extremely obscene. Especially the one in the middle, who was a very obscene group. The 3 wretched musketeers. Chu Ye was slightly stunned, and asked tentatively, Douluo Continent, Ikado. Douluo in the middle was very surprised and said, Oh, you kid, you actually heard of our name. Ikado Continent, when did we become so famous? Since you have heard of our name, then be sensible and hand over your soul guides and money obediently. Ha ha ha. The 3 laughed wretchedly. It's really you. Alas, your luck is really bad. Chu Ye sighed. Hee, don't be afraid, young man, as long as you obediently hand over the valuables on your body, we will not kill you. Douluo said with a smile. Qian Renxue walked up from in front of Chu Ye at this time, and shook his head speechlessly. You may not understand, he said bad luck refers to you. Huh. Oh. Oh, there is a little beauty here. Douluo then looked at Qian Renxue carefully, and was stunned at the sight. Chapter 56. A strange village near Blazing Fire City. Douluo's wretched expression immediately revealed an evil and lustful look. Absolute. Absolute. The more Douluo looked at her, the more surprised he was. Although this girl had not fully grown up, she had developed in the right places. She was extremely beautiful and had white skin. She was simply the best in the world. Douluo had never seen such a beautiful girl in his life. He couldn't help licking his tongue, and said excitedly and greedily, I changed my mind, little beauty, you stay and have fun with me, how about it? Hectares. Looking for death. Chu Ye's eyes instantly turned cold. Douluo Continent and Ikado are a trio. If you say they are evil people, they are not good people either. They make a living by robbing all year round, especially the middle Douluo, who is also fond of women. He is a flower thief and has defiled countless good girls. Maybe the crime is not punishable by death, but when he put these bad thoughts on Qian Renxue, these 3 people were already dead in Chu Ye's eyes. Qian Ye, Ikado, these 2 young men are dressed elegantly and should be from rich families. The good things on them belong to you, and this girl belongs to me. Eheheh. Little beauty, come into my arms. Douluo rushed towards Qian Renxue with a lustful look like a beast. You are looking for death. Chu Ye's killing intent burst out instantly, and his figure flashed violently. Puff. Ah! Douluo's arm was instantly cut off by Chu Ye's sword, and blood spurted out. He looked at the broken arm in horror and screamed like a pig being slaughtered. My hand. My hand. Douluo. Damn it. This kid, not a simple one, come at me together. Damn kid, you dare to cut off my arm, I will kill you. The 3 wretched swordsmen activated their martial souls at the same time. One was a ghost hand, one was a green kitchen knife, and one was a goose martial soul, one was a soul master, and 2 are soul kings. The level of these 3 people is pretty good, but their actual combat ability and fighting skills are very weak. Chu Ye didn't even need to use his soul skills to kill them. 3rd soul skill, ruthless hands to destroy flowers. 2 huge ghost hands attacked. You messed with the wrong people. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue looked cold. The next second, 2 wings of angel wings grew on Qian Renxue's back, and Chu Ye also released the wings of the external soul bone dragon god. God and demon sought intent. Angel sought intent. The 2 flagged their wings, and the condensed sought intent rose from their bodies and directly broke the ghost hands. At the same time, they cut off the heads of Qian Ye and Ikado behind them with a sword. Instant kill. Ah how could it be, Qian Ye and Ikado? Looking at the 2 companions who were beheaded, Douluo was scared silly, and the horror of death enveloped him. His legs fell to the ground. Little brother, spare my life. Little brother, spare my life, puff. Abula's eyes widened. He slowly lowered his head, looking at the chest pierced by the sword in disbelief. A lot of blood flowed out of his chest. As Chu Ye pulled out the sword of god and demon, Douluo also died under the sword. Let's go. Chu Ye put away the sword of god and demon, looted all the property of the three wretched swordsmen, and turned to leave with Qian Renxue. The experience of these months has made them pass the stage of nausea and vomiting for half a day after killing people. It can't be said that there are no aches, but at least it won't have any impact on their hearts. The two continued on the road and headed towards the direction of Chu City. After walking and stopping on the way, about a month later, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue arrived at a village, which is not too far from Chu City. This village is at the foot of a large mountain range. After bypassing this mountain, you can reach Chu City directly. Now, it's getting dark. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue decided to find a place to rest in this village first. But strangely, this village is unusually deserted. There are obviously hundreds of households, and it looks like a big village, but there is no one to be seen before dark. Many houses were destroyed, and many houses were empty. Chu Ye used his spiritual power to investigate and found that in such a large village, there were less than a dozen families still living here. Their gatehouses were closed, and the windows and doors were all reinforced with iron. People hid in the houses and dared not make a sound. It seemed that they were hiding from something and were afraid of being discovered. Swear, this village seems to be a little bit wrong. Let's be careful. Yes. Qian Renxue also felt it, and the two of them walked in the village on guard. Let's go and ask what's going on. Chu Ye walked to the door of a house where someone was still living and knocked. Hello, may I ask, has anything happened in this village? Soon, an old lady's voice came from the house. Children, you are from other places, right? Leave here quickly before it gets dark. There is a terrible monster near our village. It often comes out at night to feed on people. It's very dangerous. It's really a soul beast causing trouble. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue looked at each other. During this period of training, it was not the first time they encountered soul beasts breaking into the human world and causing trouble. After all, there are always a few that will run out of the soul beast's habitat. However, this situation should be resolved quickly, but it seems that this village has been like this for some time. Grandma, this should also be under the jurisdiction of Chu City, right? Isn't there an army or additional soul masters to suppress it? Chu Ye asked. Don't ask, just leave. The old woman in the house sounded a little anxious. She obviously didn't want to say more, she just wanted Chu Ye and the others to leave quickly, probably because she was afraid that their conversation would attract the man-eating monster. Grandma, Qian Renxue wanted to say more but was stopped by Chu Ye. Forget it, swear, let's ask others, someone is coming in our direction. How dare the villagers walk around in the village in this situation? Qian Renxue's mental power was not as good as Chu Ye's, and she hadn't noticed the approach of others. It shouldn't be a local villager, maybe a soul master. Chu Ye guessed. The two of them looked at the 3 o'clock direction, and sure enough, after a few seconds, 3 people appeared in their field of vision at the fork in the road ahead. So young. It seems that their age is not much different from ours. Qian Renxue was a little surprised. But Chu Ye was even more surprised, because why did the 3 people in front of him look so familiar to him? 3 people, 2 men and 1 woman. They were all wearing luxurious dresses, and their dress was obviously rich children, not ordinary people. The oldest boy was 13 years old. He was already white at such a young age. His short white hair stood up. He wore a black mask and a green and black suit. He looked quite handsome. Another boy was 11 years old. He had yellow hair and wore a fiery red dress. He had a headscarf on his forehead. He was not handsome but had a strong presence. The only girl was 9 years old. She had fiery red hair and clothes. She was extremely beautiful at such a young age. Compared with Qian Renxue, she was only slightly inferior. She had a pair of big eyes that sparkled with silver light. She was as eye-catching as a flame. You would be attracted by her. Chapter 57 Feng Xiaoshan, Which Wang, Chu Ye looked carefully for a few times, and seemed to recognize who it was. He whispered, Is it them? Feng Xiaoshan, Which Wang, there are people here. Let's go over and take a look. The 3 people also found Chu Ye and Qian Renxue at this time, and walked over quickly. It's them. Chu Ye smiled in his heart. Although he is a little younger now, some of his characteristics are still relatively easy to recognize. These 3 people will be the top talented students in the Soul Master competition in the future. You and Yuan will be the leaders of the future Blazing Fire Academy team, and Feng Xiaoshan will be the leader of the Divine Wind Academy team. Chu Ye is still very familiar with them. Seeing that they have a good relationship, Chu Ye guessed in his heart. No wonder Feng Xiaoshan is so devoted to her. It turns out that they have known each other since childhood. Divine Wind City and Blazing Fire City are very close, and the fathers of the two families also know each other and often interact with each other, so Feng Xiaoshan and Oa have known each other since childhood. At this moment, the three people have come to Chu Ye and Qian Renxue. From their attire, they could tell that Chu Ye and Qian Renxue are not local villagers, so Feng Xiaoshan asked, "You are from other places, right?" "Yes, we just passed by here and wanted to stay here for one night," Chu Ye replied. Yuan reminded, "Don't stay here. It's still not too late. Hurry up and leave. There are soul beasts causing trouble nearby." Qian Renxue asked, "We also found out after we came here. Are the soul beasts nearby very powerful? It is said that their cultivation is close to the 1,000-year level." Yuan replied subconsciously, and added, "You don't need to know this. Leave here quickly. We are soul masters who can deal with this soul beast. It must be at least a peep great soul master to deal with a soul beast close to the 1,000-year level, right? Even some soul masters with ordinary combat power may not be able to beat it. These three people dare to come out to fight against the rebellious soul beasts without the company of adults at this age." Chu Ye thought to himself. With Feng Xiaoshan's age and talent, there should be no problem. After all, Chu Ye knew that Feng Xiaoshan was born with full soul power. But Yuan and are so young, they are probably only great soul masters, right? If something unexpected happens, it will be a pity. I have to say that they're a bit bold. Chu Ye smiled and said, "To be honest, we are also soul masters. I wonder if we can join you and form a team to hunt this soul beast together." "You are also soul masters?" The three looked at each other again. Thinking carefully, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue were so calm and composed when they learned that there were soul beasts making trouble here. It is not surprising that they are soul masters. But Yu decisively refused and said, "You may not realize how powerful soul beasts close to the 1,000-year level are. This kind of soul beast is not something you can deal with. If you join us, you may only hold us back." "Oh is right, you should not interfere. Although they are not old, they are all elites and outstanding in their respective academies, much better than children of the same age. They don't think Chu Ye and Qian Renxue are so talented. Hold us back." Hearing this, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue smiled in their hearts. But they didn't need to prove themselves deliberately. Chu Ye said again, "Don't worry, we will take good care of ourselves and won't hold you back. If we have any problems, we will bear the consequences ourselves. Okay, since you all said so, then follow me. Anyway, with me, Feng Xiaoshan, it's nothing to deal with a soul beast that is nearly 1,000 years old. But you must listen to my command and can't act at will." Feng Xiaoshan looked confident, and then looked at his two friends. "Wang, is it okay?" "Wang, I don't care." Didn't respond but also acquiesced. "Then let's go, follow me." Feng Xiaoshan took the lead and the five-man team took action. Chu Ye followed behind and asked curiously, "Brother Feng, what level of Soul Master are you all?" "Level 31 3-ring Soul Master." Feng Xiaoshan's mouth corners slightly raised, with a proud expression. After saying that, he also deliberately glanced at the expressions of Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, wanting to see expressions of surprise and shock on their faces. This would satisfy his vanity and make him feel very happy. "Wow, that's amazing. Brother Feng." Chu Ye praised, but muttered in his heart. 13 years old, 31st level, Tang-san was about 12.5 years old when he was 29th level, both of them are in a full soul power, and the difference in soul power in the early stage is not big. How did Feng Xiaoshan achieve the top talent of innate full soul power, but he was only 44th level at the age of 23 during the Soul Master competition? This innate full soul power is too bad, right? Although you, Feng Xiaoshan, spent a lot of time researching your own soul skills, which delayed a lot of time, you shouldn't be 44th level at the age of 23, author. In fact, Feng Xiaoshan is 10 years older than Tang-san, a small change here, 9 years older. Qian Renxue also echoed. "Very amazing. Ha, just so. Feng Xiaoshan felt very happy when he heard it, and said very pretentiously. After all, they are teenagers, and everyone has a bit of pretentiousness. And this time they went out of the city to hunt the rebellious soul beasts, which was actually Feng Xiaoshan's idea. Feng Xiaoshan was originally looking for a to play with, but he happened to hear that there were soul beasts causing trouble here, so he wanted to bring Yu and Duochuang out to eradicate the soul beasts. The main purpose was to show off his strength in front of the goddess he liked. Let us all fall in love with him. It can be said that almost every teenager has a heroic dream of doing justice and punishing evil. There is no doubt that Duochuang and Yu readily agreed, and the three of them left the city privately, which was the reason they came here. And bringing Chu Ye and Qian Renxue with him was actually because Feng Xiaoshan felt that bringing two weaklings would make it easier to show his awesomeness. Feng Xiaoshan smiled and said, "Here's Duochuang, a level 25 second ring Great Soul Master, and Yu, a level 21 second ring Great Soul Master. They are both strong." Chu Ye was also telling the truth. At this age and with this soul power, he is considered a genius. "What about you?" Feng Xiaoshan asked back. "Our strength is just average," Chu Ye and Qian Renxue said at the same time. "Oh, don't ask Feng Xiaoshan. They must have a huge difference in soul power with us. I'm embarrassed to say it," Yu said with some contempt. "Well, it doesn't matter. If you really encounter the soul beast later, you just hide behind me." Feng Xiaoshan did not ask any more questions. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue did not care about their contemptuous attitude. The reason why they wanted to act with them was actually to understand the specific situation. Chu Ye asked, "Everyone, I see that the soul beast has been eating people here for a while. Why haven't there been any troops or soul masters coming to destroy it? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels." Chapter 58. Bloody Scene, Soul Beasts that break into the human world and eat people. Duochuang answered first. Jilou City is actually the fief of a nobleman and is controlled by the nobles. For a remote village like this, as long as there is no big commotion, the nobles will not care at all. The imperial system of Douluo Continent is like this. Many places are actually the fiefs of some royal family members, meritorious officials, and nobles. They enjoy the rights of land, taxation, conscription, etc. and rule and manage one side. Whether the surrounding public security is good or not depends entirely on what kind of people the fiefdom owners are. What about the Wuhan sub-palace of Qian City? Didn't they send anyone here? I heard from my father that the master of the Wuhan sub-palace was very good and dedicated to the people at the beginning, but because the noble officials did not care about things all year round, once there was something, the Wuhan palace would take action to stop it. After a long time, the master of the sub-palace also had a temper and let many things go. However, we passed by the Wuhan sub-palace when we left the city, and they seem to have taken some actions now. Duochuang said. "I see." Chu Ye and Qian Renxue looked at each other, and they finally understood why no one cared about the village being ravaged by soul beasts for so long. You don't care, and I don't care either. I do everything, and everyone has a temper. Chu Ye understands the feelings of the sub-palace master, but it doesn't mean that he approves of this approach. The Spirit Hall is established on the continent, at least so far, to maintain the order and public security of the continent. This is why the Spirit Hall is more popular with the people. When wars are provoked in the future, although civilians will be affected, the ones who are really worried and anxious are not the civilians at all. Rather, it is the Soul Master families, sect forces, and the so-called nobles of the empire. As the master of the Spirit Hall, the responsibility for the current situation is not small. In the eyes of Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, he should not be so angry. Zwire, after solving the soul beasts here, go into the city and make a good tidy up. That's what I meant. The two communicated in their hearts. As they walked forward, they talked to each other. After walking for several kilometers, Feng Xiaoshan suddenly stopped at the foot of the mountain and said, "Before we came here, we asked the villagers who had fled to Jilou City for refuge. They said that the soul beast was in the mountain in front of us. Every time it came out to eat people, it would take this road. Let's wait here and wait for it." Okay. But just as Feng Xiaoshan finished speaking, the miserable screams of humans came from the mountains in front of him. The faces of the 5 people all sank. No, someone was killed. Let's go and take the initiative. The 5 people rushed into the mountains quickly and moved forward rapidly in the forest. Hey! Don't run so fast, you two, follow us, aren't you afraid of death? Yu looked at Chu Ye and Qian Renxue who ran faster than her, and her tone was very arrogant, but it was also out of kindness. Saving people, you're running slowly here. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue naturally ignored it. Was a little angry when she saw this. You too, if the soul beast attacks you first, I will protect you. Stop talking, speak up. Wang said. The screams rang out a few times, and then there was no sound. The 5 people could only move forward in the direction they heard. After a while, they finally arrived at the scene where the man was killed. Ah! Seeing the screams in front of her, Er's face showed a panic expression, and she couldn't help but scream in fear. Wang couldn't help feeling sick and wanted to vomit. Feng Xiaoshan barely yet, and even Chu Ye and Qian Renxue couldn't help but frown slightly. It was the first time they saw such a bloody scene. Lying on the ground were 2 soldiers from the spirit hall. The thick armor on their bodies was torn to pieces. The bodies of the 2 soldiers were dismembered. The body parts had been bitten into a blur of flesh. Most of the skin and flesh were eaten, and the internal organs were thrown outside. The air around them was filled with a bloody smell. Even Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, who had killed many people before, would feel uncomfortable seeing this kind of scene. Chu Ye glanced at Feng Xiaoshan and the other 2. Feng Xiaoshan was fine, but Yu and Wang were frightened. Their faces were panicked and pale, and their bodies were trembling slightly. It was obvious that they had never killed anyone and had never experienced real life and death. After seeing this situation, they were a little confused, and their psychological endurance was too poor. Alas, they still come out to fight soul beasts like this. Chu Ye shook his head helplessly. While Owen and the others were still confused, he had already begun to observe the surroundings and the ground, and soon found several footprints. Zwire, come and see. Chu Ye squatted in front of the footprints left by the soul beast. Does this look like the footprints of a cat-like soul beast? Qian Renxue supported her knees with both hands, bent over to look, and thought for a while. Well, it should be a cat-like soul beast. Oh, what are they doing? Wang. It seems to be observing the footprints. Feng Xiaoshan. They are observing the footprints of soul beasts to infer the type of soul beast. The 3 people felt shocked and very surprised. When they were frightened and confused, others had already begun to investigate calmly. But the proud 3 people would not admit that they were not as good as Chu Ye and Qian Renxue. They gritted their teeth, tried to calm themselves down, and tried to keep themselves calm and walked forward. What did you find? Feng Xiaoshan asked. Wait. Chu Ye signaled Feng Xiaoshan not to speak first, and carefully observed the surroundings. Soon, he found a bunch of hair, which should have been grabbed by the victim's hands during the killing process. He immediately went to pick up the hair that the soul beast dropped, smelled it, and his face changed slightly. I have smelled this smell in the Xingdou Great Forest, cat family, black hair. It's the shadow demon cat. A relatively rare cat family soul beast, it can hide its own body, everyone be careful. Chu Ye immediately alerted the surroundings. Earl's scream just now may have made the shadow demon cat that had left turn back. Awesome, this kid has actually guessed what kind of soul beast it is. The 3 of them were shocked again, showing that their knowledge reserves and even practice were very solid, which not only made them look at Chu Ye and Qian Renxue differently. Oh, if it were me who discovered it, it would be great, so Owen would look at me differently. Feng Xiaoshan sighed in his heart. Since it can be invisible, then this soul beast is quite dangerous. You 2 quickly stand between the 3 of us, we will protect you. No need, the shadow demon cat cannot hide its body when it moves quickly and launches an attack, it will not get too close to us. Chu Ye said, releasing his own mental power to the maximum. When the spiritual power is released, the 5 senses and insight of the human will be enhanced. Even if it is an invisible being, it will be easily discovered if it approaches. Here it comes, the shadow demon cat is near us. Chapter 59. The 3 stunned people, Feng Xiaoshan, Wang, and where is it? Where is it? Feng Xiaodi, Wang, and were very nervous and alert to the surroundings. The strength of a soul beast is not only determined by its cultivation, but also by its species and bloodline. The bloodline of the shadow demon cat is not weak, and it can be invisible, so it can be regarded as a soul beast of the 1000-year level. A 1000-year-old soul beast can only be dealt with by a soul master at least, so we can't be careless. Under the moonlight, the light in the woods seemed even darker. The shadow demon cat was already lurking around, lowering its body and leaning forward. It had already revealed its fierce claws and fangs, and its eyes were cold, and it was in a hunting state. Chu Ye could feel it moving, but he couldn't lock its position for a while. At this time, the shadow demon cat was ready to go, and suddenly burst out with strong leg muscles. It ran twice and pounced fiercely from behind Douluo, and its figure finally emerged. Behind you. At the moment when the shadow demon cat attacked, Chu Ye locked onto its position. He quickly grabbed Douluo's hand and threw it behind him, while he blocked it in front of him. Sword of Gods and Demons. Hiss. The shadow demon cat opened its huge mouth and flew over to bite. Chu Ye also swung the Sword of Gods and Demons at that moment. Ding. Puff. Chu Ye blocked the shadow demon cat with a sword and instantly cut off the cat's paw on its left forelimb. Meow. The shadow demon cat screamed in pain, and the cat's cry resounded throughout the forest. The shadow demon cat was as big as a Siberian tiger, and its whole body was black. It looked more terrifying than an ordinary tiger, and its speed was very fast. Feng Xiaoshan, Wang, and Douluo didn't react just now. But now that the cat's paw was cut off by Chu Ye, its speed would drop significantly. Damn it. You beast. You almost killed it just now. Second solar skill, Double Wolf Possession. First solar skill, Wind Blade Array. Second solar skill, Tyrannical Dragon's Wrath. Feng Xiaoshan and Wang reacted and took action immediately, using their solar skills to attack. Feng Xiaoshan's wolf claws instantly shot out more than a dozen wind blades, slicing madly. The shadow demon cat, which was unable to move after Chu Ye cut off its cat paw, was attacked by Wang's solar skill. A fire dragon was directly bombarded on the body of the shadow demon cat. Bang. Die. After the two solar skills attacked, the shadow demon cat almost lost its ability to fight. Feng Xiaoshan and Wang rushed over quickly and soon successfully killed it. Dead. We got rid of the soul beast that was causing trouble here. Both of them were very happy. After all, this was not just hunting soul beasts, but doing a good deed of chivalry, which was worth being proud of. The two of them even clapped their hands for this, but they also knew that if it wasn't for Chu Ye's sword just now, they wouldn't have been able to kill the shadow demon cat so easily. Feng Xiaoshan turned around with a smile on his face, and when he saw Chu Ye blocking it, the smile on his face disappeared a little, and he muttered in his heart, "Damn, how did this kid react just now? Why was it not me who was the hero saving the beauty and blocking it?" Feng Xiaoshan was very annoyed. If he had been blocking it just now, this would have been a perfect show-off. Seeing that the soul beast had been eradicated, Chu Ye slowly turned around and looked at Douluo and said, "Are you okay? How could this happen? This is completely different from what I expected. I didn't even play a role." At this moment, Douluo did not feel grateful, but felt very ashamed and embarrassed. She felt very defeated and hit hard by her performance. Moreover, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, who she had despised all the way, and thought would hold her back, were far more prioritized than her performance, and saved the people she had always despised. The person who seemed to be holding back was more like herself. Douluo, who was very competitive, could not stand such a contrast, and said unkindly, "I'm fine." Chu Ye shrugged indifferently. At this time, the screams of humans came again from the depths of the mountains. "What's going on? Is there another one?" The five people looked at each other and took steps to run deeper again. Douluo followed the team and clenched her fists secretly. "This time, I must perform well and must not be worse than them." As they approached, the screams became more tragic, as if a large team was being slaughtered. When they arrived at the scene, they saw 2 3-ring soul masters from the Wuhan sub-hall of Blazing Fire City, leading dozens of ordinary soldiers to resist another shadow demon cat. The size of this shadow demon cat was at least 3 times that of the previous one, and its cultivation had reached the level of 10,000 years. It was a soul beast of the 10,000 year level. The information is wrong. Chu Ye understood something in an instant. It is very likely that the villagers only saw the small one and did not know that there was a bigger one making trouble here. The spirit hall received the wrong information, so it only sent out 2 additional 3-ring spirit masters, which was totally impossible for them to be the opponents of the 10,000 year level spirit beast. As for the 2 soldiers who were killed just now, they should have wanted to go back to report the specific situation, but they were killed by the smaller one. At this moment, the soldiers were being killed quickly, and the 2 3-ring spirit masters were almost unable to hold on. Feng Xiaoshan, Wang, and Douluo were frightened when they saw this scene. Fear appeared on their faces, and their bodies began to retreat subconsciously. 10,000 year level spirit beast. This is not something we can deal with. Let's go. If we don't leave, we will die here. Feng Xiaoshan, Wang, and Douluo began to retreat. Douluo, who had just muttered in her heart that she had to perform well, now completely lost her courage. Just as they began to retreat, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue unexpectedly walked forward. "Hey! What are you doing? Chu Ye and Qian Renxue smiled at each other. Without turning back or stopping, they said in unison, "Of course, we are going to kill this soul beast." What? Feng Xiaoshan and the other two suspected that they had heard it wrong, and shouted in horror. Are you crazy? This is a soul beast at 10,000 years level, and it requires a soul master of at least the soul king level to deal with it. You can't solve it, you'll die if you go there. Come back quickly, leave here with us. The group of people in the spirit hall can't escape. If we run back, we can also tell the senior leaders of the spirit hall in time about the situation here. Ha ha, if you were afraid, go back first. Chu Ye smiled slightly, no more words, and his expression became serious in an instant. The two looked at the battle in front of them, and a sword appeared in their hands at the same time. Under the gaze of Feng Xiaoshan and the other two, they rushed over without hesitation, and the soul rings under their feet also emerged one by one. Seeing the number of soul rings of Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, as well as Chu Ye's extremely abnormal soul ring configuration, at this moment, Feng Xiaoshan and the other two opened their mouths wide, completely stunned and dumbfounded. Feng Xiaoshan. Which Wang. The other three. WTF. Chapter 60. First Soul Skill. Slashing Gods and Demons, Qian Renxue. So they're so strong. The three of them were stunned. 9-year-old with 3 soul rings, 12-year-old with 4 soul rings, and the terrifying soul ring configuration. This time the talent has far surpassed them. More talented than them. They always thought Chu Ye and Qian Renxue were weak, but in the end, they are the weak ones. Thinking back to the proud face just now, showing off their soul power level and looking down on others, the three of them suddenly felt ridiculous. Here, let's go. Okay. The two of them held a sword in their hands, and with a little fighting spirit, they killed the 10,000-year shadow demon cat. The two of them worked together with a sword and repelled the opponent in one fell swoop. Bang. Everyone immediately withdraw and retrieved 100 meters away. Leave this soul beast to us. Chu Ye said very domineeringly. Everyone evacuate. The two spirit hall spirit masters immediately shouted to the soldiers to run away, while they stayed behind. We will stay and fight with you. No need, if you participate in the battle in your current state, it will only distract me from protecting you. Chu Ye glanced at the 2 3-ring spirit masters, both of whom were already wounded. Can you do this? Don't worry, step back and leave it to us. The 2 3-ring spirit masters looked at each other and nodded. Okay. They immediately withdrew. At this moment, the shadow demon cat was alert to Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, and was also ready to attack at any time, ready to go. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue were not afraid at all, and ignored the spirit beasts in front of them. At the same time, on the other side, 2 more people came at the foot of the mountain. One of them was the leader of the 7 treasure-glazed sect, the first sect in the current continent, the leader of the 7 major sects, and one of the top 3 sects, 9 Fengzi, a level 79 auxiliary spirit saint. The other one is the guardian Douluo of the 7 treasure-glazed sect, one of the 2 guardian gods in the sect, the titled Douluo with the strongest attack power, the 96th level sword Douluo, Chengxin. 9 Fengzi came to Blazing Fire City for something. On the way, he happened to hear that there was a soul beast causing trouble nearby, so he brought Sword Douluo here to deal with it. Uncle Jian, let's go. Yes. Sword Douluo took 9 Fengzi on a flying sword and quickly flew into the mountains. When they arrived, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue had already started fighting. The two joined forces to fully suppress the 10,000-year shadow demon cat. Seeing that Chu Ye and Qian Renxue were so young and hit such a cultivation level, and could still suppress the 10,000-year shadow demon cat, 9 Fengzi and Sword Douluo were extremely shocked. They hid on a big tree not far away and did not show up. The more 9 Fengzi watched, the more shocked he became. He exclaimed, "These 2 children have such amazing strength at such a young age. Uncle Jian, I have never seen such a talented soul master in my life." Qian Renxue said, "Neither have I." Uncle Jian, don't make a move yet. Let's see if they can kill this 10,000-year-old demon cat. Okay. The two watched the fight for a while, and Qian Renxue couldn't help but write surprise on his face. Said Master. These 2 children are geniuses in swordsmanship. 9 Fengzi. Oh. Qian Renxue was very interested and said, the older girl has reached the top of the basic sword intent and is about to comprehend the elementary sword intent, and the kid is already at the elementary sword intent. At the age of 9, elementary sword intent, her talent in swordsmanship is very strong, right? Douluo emphasized, "It's amazing. She is the strongest swordsman talent among the younger generation I have seen, and perhaps this kid is not inferior to me. So outstanding." Nine Fengzi was shocked again, and he had a very strong idea in his heart. Win him over. Win him over. Douluo also thought of the same thing and suggested, "Master, if such a genius can join our Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect, we will definitely be able to add a titled Douluo-level strongman to our sect in the future." Nine Fengzi nodded and said, "Yes, I also have the idea of winning them over, but such a genius is very likely to be the children of some big families and big sects." Douluo said, "I think we can give it a try. With the status and foundation of our Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect on the mainland, we can give them good resources. If they are willing to join our sect, I'm also willing to accept them as disciples." Nine Fengzi was very happy and felt that the winning was secured. Douluo is currently the #1 swordsman in the world of soul masters. It is difficult for people who also practice swordsmanship to refuse a master like Douluo. Here, Feng Xiaoshan and the other two are completely stunned, and they kept saying, "Too powerful. Really too powerful. They are too strong." At this moment, the shadow demon cat had been chopped all over by Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, and it was completely out of control, rushing towards Chu Ye as if it was desperate. "It's time to get rid of it, swear." "Understood." Looking at the shadow demon cat rushing towards him, Chu Ye decisively released his first soul skill. God and Demon double slash. The sword Douluo who was watching the battle was stunned. Question mark question mark question mark question mark. This kid's soul skill dark slash. Her. Bang. The shadow demon cat was very fast, but the dark slash was also very fast. It would be very difficult for it to avoid it when actively attacking. The shadow demon cat really avoided it, but it almost dodged it with a roll, which gave Qian Renxue time to attack. Fourth soul skill, Angel Whirlwind Wing Slash. At this moment, Qian Renxue's sacred golden six-winged angel spirit shone in the darkness. She spun her body and wings at high speed, and used her blade-like wings to frantically cut the shadow demon cat continuously. The demon cat screamed, echoing throughout the forest. Bang! Then it fell to the ground and died. "Uncle Jian, did you see it clearly?" "Yes, the six-winged angel spirit, she is a descendant of the six-winged angel lineage." At this moment, Nine Fengzi and Douluo's faces had become solemn, because they had already understood that Chu Ye and Qian Renxue came from the Spirit Hall. If it was a genius from other sects, their Seven Treasures Glazed sect would have a great chance of winning him over and digging him over, but digging a genius from the Spirit Hall. Nine Fengzi was not sure. No matter how powerful their Seven Treasures Glazed sect was, it could not be compared to the Spirit Hall. Qian Renxue was definitely out of the question. As for Chu Ye, they guessed that he was probably also a genius that the Spirit Hall focused on cultivating. Alas, why is it another genius from the Spirit Hall? After Jian Gu and Uncle Gu, our Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect has no younger generation who can possibly reach the title Douluo realm. It would be great if they were geniuses from our Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect. Besides, the boy is not much older than Nine Rong. If possible. Nine Fengzi sighed helplessly, feeling very sorry. Although the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect is the #1 sect in the continent today, it is actually just a sect led by the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile Tower, an auxiliary spirit. The direct disciples of the sect are all auxiliary spirit masters, and their combat effectiveness is very weak, so they have to absorb other combat spirit masters to join in order to strengthen the sect's combat effectiveness. Chapter 61. Exploding Soul Bone. Nine Fengzi's invitation. The situation of their sect is not so optimistic. There are many more foreign disciples than direct disciples. If it were not for the two titled Douluo, Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo, the Seven Treasures Glazed sect would not be able to absorb many foreign soul masters, and it would be difficult to control them if they were absorbed. It is very likely that there will be internal strife in their sect one day without waiting for other forces to exterminate them, and the soul masters absorbed will rebel and become the host. Now that Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo are in charge of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect, it is naturally thriving, but what if 100 years later, a new generation of titled Douluo cannot be cultivated, and the two guardian gods fall again? Then, that will also be the day when the Seven Treasures Glazed sect will decline. Therefore, they attach great importance to absorbing and cultivating foreign geniuses, and there is also a strict rule that they cannot marry auxiliary soul masters. It is best to marry powerful strong attack soul masters because they need protection and are more loyal to them. So Nine Fengzi is very fond of Chu Ye now, and his age is only a few years different from Nine Rong. It would be even better if he can be trained as a son-in-law in the future. Seeing this, Qian Renxue said, Master, forget about the girl from the Six-Winged Angel clan, but we might as well give this boy a try. If he insists on joining our Wuhan Hall, there is nothing we can do. Just as the two are talking, after Qian Renxue killed the shadow demon cat, a soul bone unexpectedly exploded. What? A 10,000-year soul bone? Nine Fengzi and Qian Renxue widened their eyes and were shocked. Chu Ye, a soul bone exploded. A 10,000-year soul bone. Qian Renxue and Chu Ye were also very surprised. They quickly picked up the soul bone and looked at it. It's the right leg bone. Good luck. Swear. It's our good luck. We killed it together. Ha ha, you're right. The two were in a very happy mood. This can be said to be the first time that Chu Ye and Qian Renxue exploded and obtained a soul bone. After Chu Ye absorbed this soul bone, your phoenix reached 68,000 years. Well, our harvest this time is not bad. Chu Ye smiled. While the two were talking, Nine Fengzi and Qian Renxue finally appeared in the dark. You are really young and promising. You can kill the 10,000-year soul bone shadow demon cat at such a young age. Your luck is also very good. The two flew down on their swords. Nine Fengzi, Qian Renxue, how come I met so many familiar people today? Seeing the two, Chu Ye muttered in his heart and put away the soul bone first. Qian Renxue stood in front of him very vigilantly. If a 10,000-year soul bone was seen by others, it might be snatched away by the two people in front of them, especially since Qian Renxue exuded the aura of a strong man. Seeing this, Nine Fengzi immediately showed a friendly smile. Don't worry, my two friends. This 10,000-year soul bone is yours. We will not snatch it away, so you can rest assured. Let me introduce myself. I am the leader of the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect, Nine Fengzi. Nine Fengzi pointed to the sword Douluo next to him. This is sword Douluo, Chengxin. So it's the leader Nine and senior sword Douluo. After Chu Ye and Qian Renxue learned of their identities, they still gave them some face and performed the etiquette of the junior to the senior. But Qian Renxue didn't want to stay with them for long. A 10,000-year soul bone was a great temptation even for a big shot of the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect. Qian Renxue just wanted to leave quickly. We have something to do in Blazing Fire City, so we won't accompany the two seniors any longer. Chu Ye, let's go. After that, she pulled Chu Ye and planned to leave. Nine Fengzi hurriedly tried to persuade them to stay. Please stay, my two friends. We are also going back to Blazing Fire City. Why don't we go together? Qian Renxue wanted to refuse, but Chu Ye said first, then let's go together. Chu Ye, what are you doing? It's okay, swear. If they really wanted to rob the soul bones, they would have done it a long time ago and there would be no need to say anything to us. Okay. The two communicated with each other in their minds. Then Chu Ye came to Feng Xiaoshan and the other two and said, Brother Fen, you are also going back to Blazing Fire City, right? Let's go together. At this moment, the three of them were a little embarrassed, and their attitudes had changed a lot. Chuan nodded and said apologetically, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. Sorry. I underestimated you just now. Her face was slightly ruddy, and the look she gave Chu Ye changed, and she even became a little shy. Thank you just now. The proud was completely impressed by the strength Chu Ye showed. Damn, only Feng Xiaoshan looked unhappy. He found that his eyes looked at Chu Ye with light and admiration. This made Feng Xiaoshan hostile to Chu Ye and regretted that he had agreed to team up with Chu Ye. Not only did he fail to show off in front of her, but his limelight was completely overshadowed by Chu Ye, making his light seem dim. It's okay, let's go back together. Okay. So, Chu Ye, Qian Renxue, Feng Xiaoshan, Nine Fengzi, Qian Renxue and others went to Blazing Fire City first. Some of the people from the Wuhan sub-hall went back with them, while others stayed behind to deal with the aftermath and the body of the soul beast. After all, the body of the soul beast can be said to be a treasure, and many things can be used as materials. On the way, Nine Fengzi tried to find various topics to get closer to Chu Ye, and acted very cordially without the airs of a sect leader, which made Feng Xiaoshan, very fond of him. But Chu Ye would not have any feelings towards Nine Fengzi that he shouldn't have. The Seven Treasures Glazed sect is one of the sects that the Spirit Hall will deal with in the future. Although there is Chu Ye on the mainland now, things may change in the future, but it is estimated that there will be little change for the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. Nine Fengzi likes to jump around too much and has great ambitions. He also pins his sect's development plan on the Tiando Empire. If he supports the Tiando Empire, he will also get the support of the Empire. If there is a fight in the future, it is unlikely that the Seven Treasures Glazed sect will submit to the Spirit Hall. If the Seven Treasures Glazed sect is willing to be like the Ocean sect, not to care about worldly affairs and choose to retire, they will not be attacked by the Spirit Hall in the future, leading to the near extinction of the sect. At this time, Nine Fengzi has already shown his eagerness to seek talents. The two little friends are amazingly talented. Nine really wants to get to know them. After you finish your business in Blazing Fire City, are you willing to visit my Seven Treasures Glazed sect? Ha, you really want to win me over. Chu Ye smiled in his heart. He really had no interest in the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. The only person who attracted him was the sword gluer beside Nine Fengzi. Chen Xin was the only one in the continent who could rival Qian Renxue in swordsmanship. According to Qian Renxue's speculation, the sword gluer's sword intent might have already reached the highest sword intent, the edge of the unity of man and sword. If they could comprehend the sword gluer's 7 killing sword intentions, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's sword intent might increase rapidly. Chapter 62 Qian Renxue. But you are not allowed to do that to me at night. Chapter 62 Qian Renxue. But, you are not allowed to do that to me at night, but going to the Seven Treasures Glazed sect may be a one-way trip. After all, it is possible that if they fail to win over you, they may want to silence you. Chu Ye said, Master Nine, let's think about it. Hey, aren't you also studying swordsmanship? If you come to my sect as a guest, Sword Douluo can give you some pointers. This will be of great help to your practice of swordsmanship. Nine Fengzi directly brought up Sword Douluo. Chu Ye smiled, since Master Nine has said so, let's go. Chu Ye, Qian Renxue pulled the corner of Chu Ye's clothes. It's okay, swear. It's a waste not to go for such a good opportunity to improve the sword intent. We just need to make a plan before we go. Chu Ye signaled Qian Renxue to relax. As long as they could inform the Spirit Hall of their whereabouts before leaving, the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect would not dare to provoke the Spirit Hall and touch them. If a young master and a son died in the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect, they would just have to wait to be destroyed. Said Master Nine, can I go? I also wanted to join in the fun of such a good opportunity to go to the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect, and asked with great anticipation. We want to go too. Went along, so Feng Xiaoshan would definitely want to go too. Fan was also very interested and wanted to see the glory of the top 3 sects. Of course you can. Nine Fengzi smiled and did not refuse. After a long time, everyone arrived at Qian City, and agreed to go to the Seven Treasures Glazed sect together in 2 days, and then dispersed. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue entered the location of the Wuhan Sud Hall. After a while, they arrived in front of the door of the Sud Hall. The Sud Hall looks more magnificent than the ordinary branch halls. The Soul Masters stationed here are more numerous, with higher levels and strengths. The Hall Master is at least at the Soul King level. After coming over, Qian Renxue took out a token, and the guarding soldiers immediately knelt on the ground in panic, and then hurriedly opened the door. Knowing that the young master was coming in person, the Hall Master of the Sud Hall put on his clothes in a panic, came quickly, and then knelt on one knee. Greetings, young master. Are you the Hall Master of the Wuhan Sud Hall here? Qian Renxue had a compelling aura, and it was obvious that she came with bad intentions. Yes. The palace master lowered his head, and was so frightened that he broke out in a sweat. There is a soul beast causing trouble in the nearby village. Why didn't you send anyone there until today? The palace master of the sub-palace was hesitant to speak, and finally admitted his mistake directly. I know I was wrong, please punish me, young master. Seeing that the sub-palace master still sent people to encircle and suppress the rebellion later, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue did not punish him too much after some understanding. They knew that the sub-palace master was once a dedicated and responsible person. Even if he is angry with the local nobles now, he has not really let many things go. Therefore, Qian Renxue did not go so far as to remove him from the position of palace master. She just gave him some punishments, warned him, and transmitted his thoughts. At the same time, Qian Renxue will also send soul masters from the Pope's palace to supervise the future actions of the sub-palace master. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue believe that it is necessary to strictly control the grassroots soul masters working in the branch halls of the Spirit Hall established in various parts of the continent. Some people with inappropriate behavior must be rectified, so that when they provoke wars in the future, they can win more people's hearts and minds, and even more soul masters support and joining. Even in the future, when the Spirit Hall unifies the continent and establishes the Spirit Empire to manage the entire continent, it is also very important for the management of managers from all over the continent. The grassroots level is equivalent to directly facing the people, and it is also equivalent to the security of the Spirit Empire in the future. Whether to create a better future is an important strategic point. As the young master and the son of the Spirit Hall, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, who may inherit the position of the Pope in the future, think that they must start now. After this period of training, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue now have ideas specifically for this aspect. They decided to tell the top leaders to implement their ideas after the training is over, and they return to the Pope's hall. In the middle of the night, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue sat cross-legged on the bed in the room. Didn't do anything bad. Instead, he took out the 10,000-year soul bone that the 10,000-year shadow demon cat exploded, intending to absorb it for the phoenix soul bone. 10,000-year soul bone, it's really a bit reluctant to absorb it. Chu Ye said as he looked at the black soul bone. Well, since you don't like the 10,000-year level soul bones anyway, and I have inherited soul bones, there's nothing to be reluctant about, Qian Renxue said. Okay, then I'll start. Yeah, I'll keep watch over you. Last time you said you'd keep watch over me, but you fell asleep. Chu Ye rolled his eyes. I won't do that this time, you believe me? Qian Renxue stuck out her tongue and smiled sweetly. Okay, I believe you. Chu Ye replied, and then immediately began to absorb. After a moment, the absorption was over. The age of the phoenix soul bone increased from 58,000 years to 68,000 years, and only 32,000 years were left to 100,000 years. It also amplified the characteristics of a certain attribute, but this time it also had the effect of the soul bone itself. Stealth. Chu Ye was a little surprised and said, Zwir, this absorption has a stealth effect. Qian Renxue was surprised and said, stealth? Can you be invisible like the shadow demon cat? Almost the same, the skills of soul bones are generally derived from the skills that the soul beast originally possessed, but the ones I absorbed did not come with additional skills, only effects, and they do not have as strong stealth capabilities as the shadow demon cat. It's just that I can hide my body if I don't move, but I can't do that if I walk. That's not bad. Yeah. Chu Ye was not surprised by the stealth effect. This effect actually doesn't have much effect. You can only be invisible if you don't move, and it is not useful in actual combat. Moreover, as the soul power increases, the higher the level of the opponent you encounter, the stronger your mental power. There is no way to hide your body, and a strong person will find it at a glance, unless you can hide your breath. So Chu Ye was surprised that if the 10,000-year level soul bone can come with a soul bone effect, then in the future, you can get more. Well, it's getting late, and I should go back to my room to sleep. Qian Renxue stood up and prepared to get out of bed. At this time, Chu Ye suddenly grabbed her hand. Zwir, how about sleeping here together tonight? This is not good. Qian Renxue's face suddenly turned red. There's nothing wrong with it. How about we each cover ourselves with a quilt? Chu Ye said seriously. Okay then. Qian Renxue hesitated and agreed, but immediately said, but, you are not allowed to, not do anything to me at night. I know, I'll go to the closet and get another quilt. Well, Qian Renxue responded shyly and sat on the bed obediently. Soon, Chu Ye took out a quilt, spread 2 quilts on the bed, and then the 2 of them turned over their own quilts and lay down in them. Zwir, then shall I turn off the lights? Chapter 63. Confessing to Qian Renxue, breaking the veil between the two. Chu Ye turned on the light switch, and the next second the room went dark, so dark that it was almost impossible to see clearly. The room was very quiet, the 2 of them shared the same bed, lying flat on their backs and looking at the ceiling quietly. Although they had kissed twice and slept in the same bed for a night, Qian Renxue fell asleep first that night. This was the first time they stayed awake and lay in the same bed together for the night. They actually knew it all a long time ago that Qian Renxue liked Chu Ye, and Chu Ye also liked Qian Renxue. It's just that they never broke through that layer of veil. And tonight, Chu Ye kept Qian Renxue because he wanted to express his feelings to Qian Renxue at this time. Tell her, I like you. First love, or when you just like someone, will always be so immature, shy, and twisted, but it is also that best stage to feel the taste of love. The 2 people who always talk a lot are lying on the same bed at this moment. The atmosphere seems a little awkward and there is an inexplicable tension, and the heartbeat is accelerated. In order to ease the atmosphere, Qian Renxue pretended to sleep and said, Chu Ye, I'm sleepy, I'm going to sleep first. After saying that, Qian Renxue turned sideways and faced Chu Ye with her back. Chu Ye turned his head and silently looked at the girl lying beside him. As he grew older and his body continued to develop, Chu Ye had become more and more interested in women. Especially with Qian Renxue, who had transformed from a little girl into a little woman. She had already hit some taste of a mature woman. Her figure was getting better and better, she was getting more and more beautiful, and more feminine. Sometimes in a few moments, Chu Ye would have some trembling thoughts in his mind, all because of the influence of hormones in the body. Opposite sexes attract, and there will be such a situation. But this also means that Chu Ye is gradually transforming from a boy to a man. Brother, be quiet, it's not time for you to show your skills yet. Chu Ye felt the terrifying reflection of the soul guide below and muttered in his heart. The two of them lay quietly for nearly half an hour. Chu Ye, who had been reluctant to speak, made up his mind and expressed his feelings to Qian Renxue. He slowly opened Qian Renxue's quilt, turned sideways, got in, and hugged Qian Renxue tenderly from behind. At that moment, Qian Renxue's body trembled slightly. In fact, she had not fallen asleep all the time. When Chu Ye hugged her, she opened her eyes instantly. Her breathing became rapid and her cheeks flushed. The heartbeats of both of them accelerated to the extreme at this time. She didn't know why she didn't dare to make a sound and let Chu Ye hold her like this. She even felt the backlash of Chu Ye's terrifying soul guide, which was tightly binding her monkey, making her shy. Qian Renxue's slightly trembling body had let Chu Ye know that she was not asleep yet. Holding Qian Renxue's soft and warm body, his mouth and nose kept sending the charming fragrance emanating from Qian Renxue. Chu Ye seemed to have lost himself, his brain was a little bit uncontrollably intoxicated in it, but it also made him bolder. Swear, you haven't slept yet. Qian Renxue's heartbeat was so fast at this moment, as if there was a little deer running wildly in her heart. She responded very quietly, yes, swear. Seeing this, Chu Ye hugged Qian Renxue's body tightly. Chu Ye. Qian Renxue was very shy, and her voice was very gentle. Chu Ye leaned close to Qian Renxue's ear and said very seriously, sincerely, and gently, swear, I like you. He finally expressed his inner feelings. At this moment, the veil between the two was finally pierced. Qian Renxue's heart seemed to be completely occupied by Chu Ye's words at that moment, and a strong emotion surged in her heart. She took the initiative to turn around, and the two faced each other, shyly, and bravely expressed her love. I like you too, Chu Ye. The deep love, the atmosphere is also set off to the extreme. The two looked into each other's eyes, feeling each other's rapid breathing, and their faces subconsciously moved closer and closer. First, the tips of their noses touched, and then their lips. Chu Ye began to kiss Qian Renxue gently, and Qian Renxue also began to respond to Chu Ye. The two hugged each other tightly, and kissed for the first time in a true sense. Swear, from this moment on, you, Qian Renxue, are my Chu Ye's woman. I will treat you well for the rest of my life and never leave you. They were deeply involved in each other. Unsatisfied with this, Chu Ye began to try to take action and then took off Qian Renxue's and missed. Chu Ye, don't not now. Not yet seeing that something that Qian Renxue could imagine was about to happen, she suddenly woke up and stopped Chu Ye's behavior. I understand. Looking at Qian Renxue's thoughts, Chu Ye restrained his thoughts. It was indeed too early now. The two separated and calmed down for a while. Chu Ye, why are you so bad, thinking about that now? Qian Renxue said halfway, her face turned red again. Hehe, I don't know, it just seems hard to control. Chu Ye touched his head awkwardly. Go to sleep. Don't think about those bad things. Qian Renxue pushed Chu Ye's forehead with her index finger. I'll try my best, I'll try my best. With such a beauty lying next to him, how could he not think about it? I won't talk to you anymore, I'll go to sleep first. Qian Renxue lay on her side with a shy face, but with a sweet smile on her face. Swear, can I hold you to sleep? But will you? No, I will restrain myself. Chu Ye promised. Okay, don't mess around. Got it. Chu Ye quickly hugged Qian Renxue from behind again, and the two of them lay there. There was no more awkward atmosphere in the room, but a strong sour smell of love. The two slept like this all night. On the second day, the relationship between Chu Ye and Qian Renxue changed again. They became more intimate and more like a couple. They stayed in Blazing Fire City for another day. The next day, it was the day agreed with Nine Fengzi and the others to visit the Seven Treasures glazed clay. Chu Ye had already sent the news of his visit to the Seven Treasures Glazed Plate clan back to the Pope's palace to ensure that there would be no emergencies at the time. In addition, they chose to set off from the Wihun sub-clan. At this moment, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue were already standing outside the Wihun sub-clan. A moment later, an extremely luxurious carriage slowly drove over from a distance. Leaned out of the window and waved from afar. Chu Ye. Since was completely impressed by Chu Ye's strength, her attitude has changed a lot and she is very enthusiastic. They are here, let's go. Yes. The carriage stopped by the roadside, and Chu Ye and Qian Renxue stepped into the carriage together. The carriage was very wide, with seats on all sides. After getting on the carriage, Chu Ye found that in addition to the few people he knew, there was also a little girl in the car. She had long hair, big watery eyes, and was wearing a light blue dress. She was about 4 years old, quite cute, with the aura of an aristocratic child. Chapter 64 Heading to the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect. She also obviously had a noble sense of superiority, and looked down on Chu Ye and Feng Xiaoshan's group. The girl just glanced at him lightly, without saying hello, and ignored him and continued to play. Chu Ye also ignored him, and sat down with Qian Renxue on an empty side. He probably guessed who this arrogant little girl was, the little witch of the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile Sect, Nine Rong Rong. Nine Fengzi immediately introduced with a smile. Friend Chu Ye, this is my little girl Nine Rong Rong. Rong Rong, go and say hello to your father's guests. Nine Rong Rong was a little reluctant, and said something very perfunctory, and then continued to play with the toys in her hands. Why are you so rude, child? Nine Fengzi was very helpless, but Nine Rong Rong was her most beloved daughter, and she could not be beaten or scolded. He cast a somewhat apologetic look at Chu Ye. It doesn't matter. Chu Ye said indifferently. He had known for a long time that Nine Rong Rong was a spoiled, pampered and loved, spoiled, and self-centered person. But Chu Ye didn't expect that this kind of character has been revealed since he was 4 years old. When the martial soul awakens and shows talent, what will happen? No wonder she has the nickname of a little witch. Chu Ye, see you again. At this time, took the initiative to sit next to Chu Ye and was very enthusiastic. Yeah. Chu Ye nodded politely. But Qian Renxue cast an unhappy look at felt that not only did she not avoid it, but also looked directly at Qian Renxue's eyes. The two of them exchanged a few sharp glances. Then they began to find topics to chat with Chu Ye. Feng Xiaoshan, who was standing aside, was very unhappy when he saw this. He secretly clenched his fists and became more and more hostile to Chu Ye. The atmosphere in the car seemed not very good. Nine Fengzi observed the overall situation and had already seen everything. He muttered in his heart, this kid, he is quite popular with women. It's quite like me back then. In fact, Nine Fengzi not only has a wife and a child, but he only has Nine Rong Rong as a daughter. When Nine Fengzi was young, he was very romantic. He had several wives and several sons. He was a romantic man, so he didn't think there was anything wrong with having 3 wives and 4 concubines. If Chu Ye really had the opportunity to become his son-in-law and marry Rong Rong, he wouldn't mind Chu Ye having other women around him, as long as he was really good to his daughter. However, choosing a son-in-law not only requires talent, but also personality and character. So this time when inviting Chu Ye to the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect, Nine Fengzi would consider it carefully and had already started to think about it. The Seven Treasures Glazed Sect occupies a mountain, and the sect is built on the top of the mountain, which is also relatively close to Tiando City. It would take a while to travel by carriage at this speed. On the way, Nine Fengzi began to introduce the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect to Chu Ye in various ways, trying to show their advantages first, and then start to win them over. Chu Ye didn't care about these at all. He just wanted to get to the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect as soon as possible, and then experience the 7 killing sword intent of Qian Renxue. After a long time, the group finally arrived at the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect. Wow, is this the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect? It's really magnificent. Feng Xiaoshan and Fan looked at the surrounding scene and exclaimed, it's really nice. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue also got out of the car and took a look. As the richest sect, the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect was indeed very magnificent, but it was far inferior to the Pope's palace. My friends, let's go in. Nine Fengzi led everyone in, and soon, a middle-aged man with a strong aura appeared in front of them. This person was another guardian of the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect, Douluo, a level 95 titled Douluo, Dalu. In fact, he was also the one with the strongest defense among all the titled Douluos. Girong's personality was cunning and changeable, but he didn't look as righteous as Qian Renxue, giving people a feeling that he was not very friendly. He only had a different face when he was with Nine Rongrong. Chu Ye was wary of this person. After entering the sect, Nine Fengzi first arranged a superior guest room for Chu Ye and the other 5, and then held a banquet, entertaining them with delicious food and drinks, and enjoying first-class treatment. But it seemed that he had no intention of letting Qian Renxue instruct Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, and let them play in the sect for a few days first. So in the next few days, Nine Fengzi took Chu Ye and the others to introduce, explain, and visit the entire Seven Treasures Glazed sect. He tried to arouse Chu Ye's interest in the Seven Treasures Glazed sect, but the only person who interested him was Qian Renxue. 7 days passed unknowingly. In these 7 days, they had visited everything they should have visited. In the next few days, Chu Ye, Qian Renxue, Feng Xiaoshan and the other 5 basically stayed in the Seven Treasures Glazed sect to practice together. They were considered to have gotten to know each other. Chu Ye couldn't bear it any longer. If Qian Renxue still didn't move in a few days, he would leave. On this day, Qian Renxue was practicing in the Douluo sect training ground. Chu Ye went to the cafeteria alone to pack her a lunch, but he happened to meet Nine Rongrong who was playing football in front of the road. Nine Rongrong kicked the football in front of Chu Ye. Nine Rongrong didn't want to run over to get it, so she called Chu Ye and said in a commanding tone, "Hey! You, pick up the ball for me." Chu Ye just glanced at her lightly, ignored her, stepped over the football and continued to walk forward. Nine Rongrong got angry when she saw this. Who in the Douluo sect didn't love her? Who dared not to listen to her? This person actually ignored her. Hey! Stop right there. Did you hear me? I told you to pick up the ball for me. Chu Ye still ignored her. Nine Rongrong was furious, ran quickly to the football and kicked it towards Chu Ye. Bang! Chu Ye stretched out his arm and caught the football with one palm. He finally stopped, turned around slowly, and looked at Nine Rongrong impatiently. This naughty child is very naughty and has been spoiled to be lawless and arrogant. If she was not only 4 years old and a little kid, Chu Ye would have slapped her. But don't think that Chu Ye won't bother with her just because the child is ignorant. She should be disciplined at this age. Didn't your father teach you etiquette? You don't even know basic manners? You don't use the right tone to ask others for help. You should say, "Please help me pick up the ball," understand? Chu Ye walked towards Nine Rongrong with a bad face. Nine Rongrong was a little scared. This was the first time someone used this tone and expression in front of her. But as the proud little princess of the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect and the long-term pampering of the whole sect, she also hardened up and put her hands on her hips. Are you teaching me how to do things? Who are you to dare to talk to me like this? Do you know that no one in the entire Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect dares to say this to me? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 65. Teaching Nine Rongrong a Lesson, Feng Xiaoshan's Challenge. Little brat, everyone in your Douluo sect pampers you and is afraid of you, but I won't spoil you. Put your hand out. Today, I will discipline you on behalf of your father and let you know what kind of attitude you should have towards others. Chu Ye said. You dare to yell at me? Nine Rongrong was still a child after all. It was the first time she faced someone like this and she was a little confused, angry and aggrieved. Put your hand out quickly. I don't want it. I want to tell my father, Grandpa Qian, and Grandpa Yu that you bullied me. You run to complain when you encounter a little bit of unhappiness. You are just a useless little brat who can only rely on others. You are really powerful when you are powerful yourself. Do you understand? Chu Ye directly grabbed Nine Rongrong's little hand by force, and then spread her palm. A wooden stick soon appeared in his hand. With a snap, he hit Nine Rongrong's hand heavily. This palm went down, and Nine Rongrong burst into tears. Why are you crying? Do you know you were wrong? I hate you. I hate you. I must let Dad and the others teach you a lesson. Nine Rongrong cried. Chu Ye didn't care about that and hit her palm with a stick again. When you admit your mistake, I will stop. Bang. Chu Ye hit Nine Rongrong with 3 sticks in a row. The pain in her palm was really unbearable. The proud girl bowed her head and admitted her mistake for the first time. I was wrong, I was wrong. Seeing this, Chu Ye put away the stick and said to Nine Rong Rong, "Now, you have to take the ball back from me. Do you know how to say it?" Nine Rong Rong wiped her eyes and said very aggrievedly, "Please, give me back the ball. That's right, take your ball back and play." Chu Ye forgot to give her the ball and turned away. Nine Rong Rong looked at Chu Ye's back with resentment, turned around and ran away. Not long after, she ran in front of Nine Fengzi, with Qian Renxue and Douluo beside her. As soon as she came in, Nine Rong Rong started crying and complaining. "Dad, Grandpa Qian, Grandpa Gu, that guy named Chu Ye bullied me, woo, and hurt my hand. It's outrageous. We didn't even want to hit this kid, but he dared to hit Rong Rong. I'm going to cripple that kid." Seeing this, Douluo was furious and was about to go out to settle accounts with Chu Ye. Nine Fengzi hurriedly stopped him and said, "No, Uncle Gu. Set Master, are you just going to watch Rong Rong being bullied by others? Uncle Gu, calm down first." Nine Fengzi suppressed Douluo's emotions, and then looked at Nine Rong Rong's palm. Except for the palm, there was no place that was hit, and he was also measured in his attack. And he could guess at once that it must be Rong Rong who aimed to provoke others, and he knew his daughter's personality very well. At this time, a sect spirit master came to Nine Fengzi's ear and said something, and Nine Fengzi learned about the whole process of Rong Rong and Chu Ye just now. It was Rong Rong, the girl. Nine Fengzi shook his head helplessly. "Rong Rong, Dad already knows the situation. You were at fault first, so let's just forget about it. HMPH. I won't pay any attention to you." Seeing that the three of them had no intention of helping her, Nine Rong Rong felt aggrieved and angry and ran away. Rong Rong. Qian Renxue and Douluo felt very distressed and wanted to chase after her to comfort her, but were stopped by Nine Fengzi. "Uncle Qian, Uncle Gu, don't go. She deserves to be frustrated. But we all dote on her very much. No one in the sect dares to let her down. This girl has developed a very spoiled character. It's time for someone to discipline her. But Rong Rong is still young after all." Nine Fengzi said. "When she grows up a few years, she will be even more difficult to discipline. In our sect, who else but Chu Ye dares to treat Rong Rong like this? Maybe this kid can help Rong Rong get rid of those bad habits." As for Chu Ye, after observing his character and personality for the past few days, he seems to be pretty good. Although he is a bit righteous and evil, I am still very satisfied with him overall. He is within my standards for choosing a son-in-law. Uncle Qian, you go and teach them tomorrow. Let Chu Ye taste the sweetness first. When the time is right, we will express our intentions to win him over." "Yeah." Qian Renxue nodded lightly. At this time, Chu Ye had packed the food and returned to Qian Renxue, asking her to eat first and then practice. Feng Xiaoshan and the other two also came after finishing their meal. Earl ran to Chu Ye with great interest and said with great expectation, "Chu Ye, I feel that I always lack something in close combat. Your fighting skills are so powerful, can you teach me?" In the past few days, everyone has become more and more familiar with each other, and O has become more and more proactive. "Then you attack me and let me see," Chu Ye said. "Wait. Oh, I can teach you." Feng Xiaoshan came in at this time. "You are not as good as Chu Ye." "Who said I am not as good as him, Chu Ye? Do you dare to compete with me?" Seeing that his goddess was getting closer and closer to other boys, Feng Xiaoshan really couldn't bear it anymore, and today he proved himself. Although he saw Chu Ye kill the 10,000-year shadow demon cat that day, he was also very powerful when he joined forces with Qian Renxue. If he fought alone, Feng Xiaoshan didn't think he would definitely lose to Chu Ye. He is also recognized as a genius with excellent talent. "Brother Feng, there's no need for that." Chu Ye didn't want to accept the challenge, because he knew that if Feng Xiaoshan lost, O would no longer be able to compete with him, and he actually had no interest in O in that aspect. "Chu Ye, I think it's necessary. Let's compete today to see who is stronger. Just tell me if you dare to accept the challenge." Feng Xiaoshan was determined to fight. Seeing this, Chu Ye agreed. "In that case, then come on." Feng Xiaoshan, level 31 agility attack system 3 ring soul master, martial soul, swift winged two-headed wolf, please teach me. Feng Xiaoshan was extremely serious. Chu Ye, level 35, strong attack system 3 ring soul master, martial soul, god and demon sword, please teach me. Chu Ye also took a serious attitude. "I must defeat you." Feng Xiaoshan secretly made up his mind, and the next second, the martial soul possessed him. Second soul skill, double wolf possession. Second soul skill, god and demon sword body. Both of them activated their own strengthening and amplification skills. The next second, Feng Xiaoshan took the initiative to attack, very fast, and attacked with one claw. Ding! But Chu Ye easily blocked it. Feng Xiaoshan quickly changed his position and began to attack Chu Ye from other angles. Ding! Bang! Bang! But without exception, they were all easily blocked by Chu Ye. Damn it! His defense against me is flawless, leaving me no chance to make a move. Feng Xiaoshan looked embarrassed. The third solar skill, Swift Wind Wings. A pair of wings condensed from the wind appeared behind him, and his speed became faster, and he was able to fly and fight. Seeing this, Chu Ye felt a domineering sword intent rising from his body, and swung his sword. Chapter 66. 9 Wrong. A man with a short memory. The two sides launched a fierce battle. It must be said that Feng Xiaoshan was still quite skilled, but unfortunately, Chu Ye, who had reached the primary sword intent for a long time, was very sharp in sword moves. He could suppress Feng Xiaoshan with the battle given by the sword intent alone. How can he be so strong? How can it be? He is obviously less than 10 years old. Feng Xiaoshan was unwilling and tried his best, but he could not change the situation of being suppressed, which made him feel powerless. First solar skill, Wind Formation. First solar skill, 2 Cups of Gods and Demons, Light Battle. Hush! Bang! The light battle instantly defeated Feng Xiaoshan's solar skills and knocked him down from the sky. When Feng Xiaoshan stood up from the ground, Chu Ye's sword was already on his neck. He lost. I actually lost to him like this. At this moment, Feng Xiaoshan's proud heart was completely frustrated. He stood there with a frustrated face and took back his strength. Seeing this, Chu Ye also retracted his sword and patted Feng Xiaoshan on the shoulder, trying to comfort him. Brother Feng, actually, unexpectedly, before he finished speaking, Feng Xiaoshan shook off Chu Ye's hand on his shoulder. I, Feng Xiaoshan, will challenge you again, and one day I will surpass you. The frustrated Feng Xiaoshan left directly. Chu Ye looked at his back and felt his determination to become stronger. It is unlikely to surpass Chu Ye, but when Feng Xiaoshan stands on the stage of the Soul Master competition in the future, he may be stronger than Chu Ye originally imagined. After this battle, Feng Xiaoshan really began to work hard. The reason why he only cultivated to level 44 at the age of 23 was actually that he did not work hard enough. In the evening, Chu Ye finished a day of practice. He returned to the room to take a shower and change clothes. It was 11 o'clock in the evening. He just lay on the bed and turned off the lights for a while, and heard a quiet voice coming from outside the door. Miss Wrong, do we really have to do this? If the sect master finds out, HMPH. What are you afraid of? I told you to teach him a lesson, so you beat him up. 9 Wrong said proudly, with her hands on her hips. Okay. The few people had no choice but to obey. These people were all foreign disciples recruited by the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect, and they were all soul masters at the age of 18 or 19. This stinky girl, she really doesn't learn her lesson. It didn't work to complain to your dad, so she found someone herself. Chu Ye sneered, lying on the bed without saying a word, pretending to be asleep. After a while, 9 Wrong led a few people to the door of the room, then quietly pushed open the wooden door and sneaked in. SHHH. Keep your voice down, go to his bed, and then beat him up for me. 9 Wrong gestured. Understood. The few people nodded and began to slowly approach. 9 Wrong put her hands on her hips, and her face began to be complacent. Soon, the 4 of them came to Chu Ye's bed. They looked at each other, and the one in the middle raised his fist, ready to punch Chu Ye in the face. But just as his fist was about to hit Chu Ye's face, Chu Ye suddenly opened his eyes and caught the fist with one hand. He showed a wicked smile at the corner of his mouth. Hey, what are you doing? In the middle of the night. Bang. After saying that, the one in the middle was instantly kicked away by Chu Ye, and his body directly hit the wooden door and flew out, lying on the ground and rolling in pain. Hit him. Seeing this, the 3 of them took action directly. Chu Ye rolled back to avoid the attack, and then punched one of them in the face, lying on the ground on the spot, screaming. Chu Ye was not in a hurry. While putting on his clothes, he threw 2 slaps, hitting the faces of the remaining 2. Bang. Bang. Ah. The force was very strong, and the 2 were directly slapped away by Chu Ye. How can he be so powerful? 9 Wrong was stunned. She didn't expect Chu Ye to be so strong. Chu Ye had already put on his clothes and sat on the bed again, crossing his legs. He looked at the person he had knocked down and said lazily, "Oh, you guys. You are so brave. You should know that I am the honored guest invited by Sect Master 9, right? You dare to come and beat me in the middle of the night with a mask on. What will happen if Sect Master 9 finds out? You will have external injuries on your bodies. I remember them. I will find out who you are when the time comes. Fear appeared on the faces of several people. At the least, they will be severely punished. At the worst, they may be expelled from the sect. I will give you 10 seconds to get out of here immediately. I will not tell Sect Master 9 yet. Go. Go. Several people hurriedly got up from the ground and were about to take 9 Rongrong away. Hey, I didn't say to let her go. Several people froze in their steps and hesitated for a moment. Sorry, Miss Rongrong. They were about to leave 9 Rongrong here. Are we just going to leave Miss Rongrong here? Don't worry, Rongrong is the most beloved daughter of the clan leader. Chu Ye dare not do anything to her. If we don't leave now, we will be doomed. You actually abandoned me, come back here. Hey, you dead girl, come here now. 9 Rongrong's body trembled suddenly, and she turned around tremblingly, panicking inside. Because she knew that Chu Ye was the only one who dared to hit her. Come here. No, I don't want to. 9 Rongrong turned around and wanted to run, but her small body couldn't outrun anyone. Chu Ye grabbed her in a few seconds, closed the door, and carried her on his shoulders. Let me go. Let me go. 9 Rongrong kicked her legs and struggled desperately. How dare you ask someone to beat me, little princess of the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect? Little witch. No matter how much they pamper you, I won't indulge you. Today, I've really taught you a lesson. Chu Ye pulled down 9 Rongrong's pants and spanked her butt. Papa. Daddy. It's no use calling daddy. Woo. Cry. Why are you crying? Shut up. 9 Rongrong shut her mouth instantly after being yelled at by Chu Ye. Papa. Chu Ye spanked her several more times, directly spanking 9 Rongrong's butt red. Woo 9 Rongrong cried pitifully and aggrievedly. Dare you dare again? I won't dare again, Rongrong will never dare again, Rongrong was wrong, woo. Rongrong wiped her tears and was completely afraid of Chu Ye. HMPH Chu Ye snorted coldly and let her go. Put on your pants and stand by the side. Oh, I see 9 Rongrong cried while climbing up from the bed and then stood obediently by the bed. Apologize. I'm sorry. If you were a stubborn and willful kid like you go out alone, you'll die many times. Today, I will punish you to stand here all night without sleeping. After that, Chu Ye lay on the bed and covered himself with the quilt, while 9 Rongrong stood by the bed, not daring to move, and was completely obedient to Chu Ye. After a while, 9 Rongrong's feet were sore from standing, and she wanted to sit down and be lazy. Chu Ye cast a look at her, and 9 Rongrong was immediately scared, and stood up straight again, because she was too wrong. Tears fell down. Chapter 67. Sword Douluo's instructions, 7 killing sword intent. I'm asleep, you stand still, don't try to be lazy, don't try to sneak away, because I will find out, and then the punishment will be even heavier. Chu Ye reminded her, and then ignored her. Big bad guy. You were a big bad guy. 9 Rongrong cursed Chu Ye in her heart, but even if Chu Ye fell asleep, she didn't dare to move. The next morning, when Chu Ye woke up early, he found that 9 Rongrong had a peaceful face and was sleeping beside her bed. 9 Rongrong was still okay after she calmed down, she was quiet and gentle. Although 9 Rongrong's personality was not very pleasing, she was kind by nature. After what happened last night, I think she would not dare to provoke me. Chu Ye did not do anything for her, nor did he disturb 9 Rongrong's sleep. He got up gently and walked out of the room. This time 9 Rongrong did not complain again, but her butt was hurt by the beating, and she could not walk smoothly. 9 Fengzi and others still found out that Rongrong was taught a lesson by Chu Ye last night. Douluo was furious. How unreasonable. How unreasonable. I'm going to kill that kid. 9 Fengzi hurriedly persuaded him. Uncle Bone. Calm down. Calm down. Douluo's anger was suppressed again, but he was about to explode. At noon, Qian Renxue finally came out to teach Chu Ye and Qian Renxue the way of the sword, and asked them to wait at the place where Qian Renxue usually practiced. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Qian Renxue slowly appeared holding the 7-killing sword. Even if there was no fluctuation of soul power, his aura holding the sword was unparalleled. Senior Qian. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue greeted him at the same time. Qian Renxue did not have much communication. He came over and started to say, The 7 Killing Sword Martial Soul has a natural sword intent and a set of sword techniques, called the 7 Killing Sword Technique. If you and I are destined to be together, I can teach you the 7 Killing Sword Technique. Douluo did not specify who he was talking to, but the implication was that if Chu Ye was willing to stay in the 7 Treasures Glazed sect, he could learn the 7 Killing Sword Technique. Now I will release the sword intent that I have learned in my life, and you should seriously comprehend it. 7 Killing Sword Intent. Ushu. In an instant, Douluo's body exuded an extremely terrifying sword intent aura, completely enveloping Chu Ye and Qian Renxue. What a terrible sword intent! Compared to Qian Dalu, Douluo's sword intent is full of killing words. This is the 7 Killing Sword Intent. Chu Ye's face was very serious. He couldn't tell whether Qian Dalu's sword intent was stronger or Douluo's sword intent was stronger. But Douluo's sword intent seemed to be more suitable for his god and demon sword intent. This made Chu Ye very surprised. He did not delay any longer and immediately focused his mind to comprehend the 7 Killing Sword intent that permeated around him. He seemed to be immersed in it and reached a state of selflessness. His own god and demon sword intent actually began to frantically devour the 7 Killing Sword intent around him. Chu Ye's sword intent was soaring at an extremely terrifying speed. Douluo was extremely shocked and surprised. Incredible, he is comprehending my sword intent at an astonishing speed. His god and demon sword intent and my 7 Killing Sword intent are also very compatible, even surpassing the 7 Killing Sword intent that my father and I had in the past. This child is really suitable to be my successor. Douluo looked at Chu Ye with a huge change in his eyes. In his eyes, there was an extremely satisfied appreciation and love. He actually wanted to accept a disciple and pass on the 7 Killing Sword technique that Baishan had comprehended, but no sword boy could catch his eye. When he saw Chu Ye, although he had a strong talent for swordsmanship, everyone's swordsmanship was different. If it was very different from his swordsmanship, Douluo would not necessarily accept it. He was forced to help Nine Fengzi win over Chu Ye, but now, he really wants to teach Chu Ye, and even accept him as his personal disciple. Because Chu Ye's swordsmanship coincides with his. With just one release of the 7 Killing Sword intent, Chu Ye's god and demon sword intent has reached the peak of the primary sword intent. Even if the sword intent is very compatible, it won't improve so fast. This kid is really a demon. Douluo was amazed in his heart, and he liked him more and more. Now you release your own sword intent and use the swords in your hands to attack me. In this process, I will point out the shortcomings of your sword moves and sword styles. Thank you, Senior Qian. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue looked at each other and attacked at the same time. Douluo held a sword in his hand and was impeccable in front of the two. No matter how they coordinated their attacks, it was like tofu hitting a stone. And in this process, he pointed out many shortcomings in Chu Ye. Rest. Bang. Douluo swung his sword, and Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's swords fell to the ground on the spot. That's all for today. Wait for me here at this time tomorrow. Okay, Senior Qian. In the next few days, it was at this time every day. Under the guidance of the 7 Killing Sword intentions and Sword Luo, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's sword skills became stronger and stronger, growing at an astonishing speed. 3 days later, Chu Ye's god and demon sword intention officially entered the intermediate sword intention, and his aura changed. He casually swung a sword, which was a terrifying sword blade. This is the intermediate sword intention. After that, a sword blade at 10 meters can be hit with one swing. The previous sword intention was at most to attach the sword intention to the sword and then increase the power. Although it can also hit the sword energy, the lethality is actually very general. The intermediate sword intention is to truly achieve the level of using sword energy to kill soul masters. And after reaching the intermediate sword intention, Chu Ye finally realized the second sword of the Angel 6 Divine Swordsmanship, named Divine Light Breaking Sky Slash. A sword skill for a single attack. Although he has never used it, he can feel that its power is far greater than the first sword, Divine Light Sword Rain. Unknowingly, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue have been in the 7 Treasures Glazed set for half a year. Including the time of training before, they have been away from the Spirit Hall for a whole year. Feng Xiaoshan, Wang, and left the 7 Treasures Glazed sect early because school started. Was reluctant to leave, and Feng Xiaoshan came to challenge Chu Ye with aspirations for the future. In this year, Chu Ye's soul power has reached level 37, the peak of the intermediate sword intent. Qian Renxue's soul power is level 46, the primary sword intent. Although the soul power of the two has not increased much, their strength is increased a lot. Or it may be because Chu Ye has stayed in the Seven Treasures glazed sect for too long. The Pope's palace is worried that the genius will be poached, so it has received news a while ago that it will send people to pick up the two and bring them back. Today, the Spirit Hole's troops finally arrived at the foot of the mountain. Seeing this, Nine Fengzi immediately asked Qian Renxue to make the final attempt to win over Chu Ye. At this moment, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue didn't know that the people from the Pope's palace had arrived, and they were waiting for Qian Renxue's instructions as usual. After a while, Qian Renxue came, but he seemed to have something to say today. He slowly came to Chu Ye, patted Chu Ye on the shoulder, and said seriously, "Chu Ye, are you willing to join our Seven Treasures glazed sect and worship me as your master? If you are willing, I will teach you all the swordsmanship I have learned in my life." Qian Renxue was very sincere. Chapter 68. The Six Angel Swordsmanship, the Second Sword, defeats Douluo. In fact, during this period of time, Chu Ye had already seen Qian Renxue's feelings for him. He would indeed be a very good teacher and would be of great help to his future. But Chu Ye had already belonged to the Spirit Hall. Bai Bai Dong treated him well. In addition, there was the woman he loved, Qian Renxue. It was impossible for him to join the Seven Treasures glazed sect. "Senior Qian, I already have a teacher. I have already joined the Spirit Hall and will never switch to other sects. So, I'm sorry." Chu Ye shook his head and refused. His eyes were extremely firm. "This is the first time in my life that Qian Renxue has accepted a disciple, and it is also that first time that he has been rejected." Qian Renxue saw Chu Ye's firm heart and felt very sorry. He sighed heavily in his heart. "In this case, then you should go back and pack your luggage and leave the Seven Treasures glazed sect. Your people from the Spirit Hall are waiting outside the sect. Are you here?" Chu Ye and Qian Renxue looked at each other. No wonder Qian Renxue would make it clear at this time that he wanted to win over Chu Ye. He nodded, clasped his hands together, bowed slightly, and said respectfully, "Thank you very much for your guidance during this period. Chu Ye has benefited a lot. I owe you a favor. If I have the chance, I will definitely repay Qian Renxue for his teachings during this period. Swear, let's go." Chu Ye finally looked at Qian Renxue, feeling a little complicated. Perhaps after this separation, when they meet again in the future, their relationship will not be the same as it is now. They may be enemies with swords against each other. If possible, he really doesn't want to become an enemy with the man who taught him the sword for half a year. When Chu Ye went back to pick up his luggage, Qian Renxue had already come to Nine Fengzi and told Nine Fengzi that Chu Ye refused to join the Seven Treasures glazed sect. Nine Fengzi felt the same regret as Qian Renxue, and he didn't expect that Qian Renxue would be rejected when he accepted him as a disciple. He couldn't understand why he was not tempted when the Seven Treasures glazed sect had such a good sword instructor like Qian Renxue. After all, he is only 10 years old and has not been with the Spirit Hall for long. How can he have such a strong relationship? Alas, this kid is not destined to be with our sect after all. Nine Fengzi sighed helplessly. Douluo couldn't stand it anymore. Chen Xin taught this kid for so long in vain, but he didn't join our sect. Aren't we training geniuses for others in vain? This kid has taught us wrong many times. If he joined our sect, Wrong would not care, but now he doesn't want to join us. This kid can't just leave like this. Set Master, since a genius like Chu Ye can't be used by our sect, it's better to kill him. If he grows up in the future, the Spirit Hall will definitely add another powerful person at the level of titled Douluo. Wrong wanted to teach Chu Ye a lesson a long time ago. Now that he is unwilling to join, he even has the intention to kill him. Uncle Gu, you can't do this. Let them go. Nine Fengzi shook his head. He dared to win over the geniuses of the Spirit Hall, but he definitely didn't have the courage to kill the geniuses of the Spirit Hall, unless he assassinated them. Douluo remained silent. He knew that Sword Douluo would not let him do this, but he could not swallow this breath. He had already made up his mind. A moment later, Nine Fengzi, Sword Douluo, Nine Renxue and others escorted Chu Ye and Qian Renxue to the sect gate. Only Nine Renxue was alone, and she was very happy. This bad Chu Ye is finally gone. I don't want to see him again, humph. At this moment, the people from the Spirit Hall also responded at the sect gate. When they saw Chu Ye and Qian Renxue coming out, they all knelt on one knee. Your subordinate greets young Master Qian Renxue, His Royal Highness the Son of God. What? Son of God? This kid Chu Ye is actually the Son of God of the Spirit Hall. Nine Fengzi, Sword Douluo, Douluo and others were all shocked. No wonder he was unwilling to join. It turned out to be the Son of God. They actually wanted to win over the Son of God of the Spirit Hall. Nine Fengzi shook his head and felt ridiculous for himself. Master Nine, Senior Qian, thank you for your hospitality during this period. We will regret it soon. Goodbye. Chu Ye said goodbye to everyone and joined hands with Qian Renxue to leave with the Spirit Hall troops. Douluo narrowed his eyes slightly and said in his heart, Son of the Spirit Hall, I dare not kill the sun, but it does not mean that I dare not beat you up. Long after Chu Ye and his party left, Douluo also quietly left the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. In the carriage, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue sat cross-legged and practiced. They left the area covered by the Seven Treasures Glazed sect and drove on a deserted road. At this time, the carriage suddenly stopped with an emergency brake, alarming Chu Ye. What's wrong? Your Highness, there is someone blocking the road ahead. Oh? Seeing this, Chu Ye stepped out of the carriage and saw a man in a black robe in the middle of the road ahead. He couldn't see his appearance clearly. Who was coming? Here. The black-robed man sneered. Without saying a word, he took action directly, with a huge amount of soul energy in his body. Not good. Protect the young master and the holy sun. Everyone stood in front of the carriage to resist, but they were all blown away by one move. Bang. Ah. Everyone fell to the ground. Chu Ye's face suddenly sank when he saw this. The group of people who took them back, led by a soul emperor, could not resist. Judging from the aura, it is very likely that he has reached the level of titled Douluo. Chu Ye's brain turned quickly. Titled Douluo. Girong. Bone Douluo. The only two people who had grudges or conflicts with Chu Ye were Snake Spear Douluo and Poison Douluo. Apart from the two of them, the only titled Douluo he could think of who would attack him was Bone Douluo at the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect. Because of the reason why he taught Nine Rongrong a lesson, Chu Ye knew that Bone Douluo had been unhappy with him for a long time. It's Girong, Bone Douluo. Chu Ye's voice came. Bone Rong paused, a little surprised, and attacked again without saying a word. This pause made Chu Ye sure that it was Bone Douluo. Protect His Royal Highness the Sun. We will defend His Royal Highness the Sun even if we die. They were about to stand up to resist, but Chu Ye suddenly shouted, back off. Angel 6 Divine Sword Technique, Second Sword, Divine Light breaking through the sky. Chu Ye soared into the air, and a huge amount of energy instantly burst out from his body, accompanied by a strong golden light. His body seemed to have turned into a huge lightsaber, stabbing Bone Douluo head-on. Boom boom boom. The two forces collided head-on, and the terrifying sword technique actually blocked Bone Douluo directly and knocked him back. What a terrible sword. Bone Douluo's face condensed. He obviously didn't want to attack the people at the Spirit Hall openly. After all, this would implicate the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect and cause a feud with the Spirit Hall. That's why he hid his appearance and would not use his spirit and soul skills at all. He thought that this was enough to deal with Chu Ye, but unexpectedly, Chu Ye only used a sword to temporarily force him back. Good boy, you really have some skills. Bone Douluo's face was gloomy, and this time he directly mobilized the 8th level of soul power. Chapter 69. Qian Renxue, the husband's protector, appears online. Chu Ye, come together. Okay. Martial Soul Fusion Skill, Angel Demon Destroyer. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's martial souls quickly merged together, and the huge angel attacked again, with two light and dark swords in front of him, attacking instantly. What? Martial Soul Fusion Skill? Not good. Boom boom. Bone Douluo was repelled again, which made him angry. Bone Douluo, stop it here, you will only harm the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect. Chu Ye's voice sounded. Hey, kid, you want to walk away after bullying Rongrong? I don't plan to kill you, I just want to teach you a lesson. What can your wooden hole do to the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect? Seeing that he had been exposed, Bone Douluo did not pretend, and all 9 circles of terrifying soul rings under his feet appeared. Boy, come and get beaten. The terrifying aura of Bone Douluo has risen, stepping on his huge bone dragon martial soul. Level 95 Bone Douluo is no longer comparable to the likes of Snake Spear Douluo. His strength is too strong. In front of this level of opponent, it is simply difficult to resist. Girong, if you dare to touch a hair on his head, believe me. At this time, Qian Renxue stood in front of Chu Ye, pointing a sword at the strong man in the sky, her eyes filled with cold murderous intent. I will make your Kaibahouli sect beheaded. Swear. Chu Ye had rarely seen Qian Renxue's expression like this. Little wife, so cool. You. Bone Douluo's eyes also flashed with murderous intent, but he was indeed a little bit scared and hesitated to take action. At this time, a voice suddenly sounded in the sky. Girong, you are so old and still take action against 2 juniors, you are so embarrassed. Girong's face changed instantly, with a strong fear. He turned around quickly and found that 2 huge golden dragon sticks had appeared behind Kongtian. That was the top weapon spirit, the Panlong stick. Qian Renxue, Jiang Renxue, Bone Renxue read out their names. Girong, take a blow from our 2 brothers. Qian Renxue's voice resounded between heaven and earth. 2 huge dragon coiling sticks instantly hit Bone Renxue in the next second. Bang! Boom! Wah! Bone Renxue was blown away by the 2 sticks for hundreds of meters. His body floated on the ground like floating on water, constantly hitting the ground, and finally smashed into a stone wall. Get out! Qian Jiang, holding the golden stick, ignored the embarrassed Bone Renxue with a majestic and invincible presence. In fact, if the 2 brothers joined forces, they would be able to compete with the 98-level golden crocodile Renxue. Damn it! Bone Renxue was extremely unwilling, but still turned around and fled quickly. Qian Jiang, it's really scary. Chu Ye looked at the previous attack with lingering fear. It was the first time he saw these 2 96-level titled Douluo take action. That kind of power made him realize again that his strength was still very weak. He glanced at Qian Renxue beside him and clenched his fists secretly. I must become stronger, stronger. Jiangmo and Qian Jun are the Elders of Worship, also known as the Elders of Judgment. They usually only take care of the affairs in the Spirit Hall and do not interfere in the affairs outside. If it were not for Qian Renxue, Qian Jun and Jiangmo would not have come out of the mountain at all. Instead of having strong people to protect them every time, Chu Ye did not want to rely on others for protection all the time. He urgently wanted to make himself stronger so that he could protect Qian Renxue at his own strength. After returning, I'd better break through level 40 as soon as possible, then go to Douluo to get the fairy grass, and then go to the killing city. Chu Ye made a decision in his heart. After repelling Bone Renxue, Qian Jun and Jiangmo disappeared again. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue returned to the carriage, and the team moved forward again. Qian Renxue said in a very unhappy tone, "This 7 Treasures Glazed sect is really ignorant of evil. We were thinking of pleading for the 7 Treasures Glazed sect in the future, allowing them to return to seclusion and avoid the disaster of the 7 Treasures Glazed sect being wiped out. Now it seems that there is no need. After all, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue have been instructed by Jian Douluo for half a year. They actually want to help the 7 Treasures Glazed sect. As long as they don't interfere in the national war and stay honestly, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue can make the Spirit Hall not touch the 7 Treasures Glazed sect." Chu Ye said, "I don't think Nine Fengs is so stupid that he chooses to make enemies with the Spirit Hall in this way. I'm afraid that Girong took action privately. If it weren't for the 2 elders Jiangmo and Qian Jun today, the 7 Treasures Glazed sect can be persuaded to stay, but I will not let Girong go so easily," Qian Renxue said angrily. Chu Ye knew that Qian Renxue was so angry because of him, so he hugged Qian Renxue's shoulders and coaxed her, okay, don't be angry anymore." A few days later, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue returned to the Pope's palace. As soon as they returned, they were summoned by Bai Dong to attend a meeting in the Elder's palace. Bai Dong looked at Chu Ye, smiled slightly, and nodded. "Not bad, Xiaoyu. After a year of training outside, you have become much more stable and mature. Teacher, you are too kind," Chu Ye said modestly. After that, everyone asked about Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's training outside and their current strength changes, and then talked about business. Chu Ye took the initiative to say, "Teacher, elders, this time we went out for training and saw the general situation on the continent today. Many aristocratic rulers of the empire do nothing or even use their power to oppress civilians. There are also many such people in our martial arts branch halls across the country. This has indirectly led to chaotic public security in many areas and difficult lives for the people. So, Qian Renxue and I want to set up a supervisory hall. We can't control the people of the empire, but we can supervise the branch halls scattered across the continent." Qian Renxue echoed, "Yes, the branch halls in various places are facing the masses, and what the branch halls do will directly affect the image of our martial arts hall. Establish a supervisory hall to supervise the branch halls in various places, so that there will be no people who oppress the people in various places, and they will be more capable. In this way, our martial arts hall can also win more hearts and minds, and more soul masters will be willing to join us on their own initiative." "Oh?" Bai Dong and the elders of Qian Dalu looked at each other. In fact, after the last Pope Qian Renxue took office, the Spirit Hall did not strictly manage the lower-level branch halls. When Bai Dong took office, she was even more relaxed and disciplined in this regard. In fact, the image of the Spirit Hall in the hearts of the masses is already very good, and with the foundation of the Spirit Hall, and after the implementation of the two major plans, no matter how well it does in image management and public security, it will not play a key role, so Bai Dong does not care much. However, the establishment of the Supervisory Hall will indeed bring benefits and help to the Spirit Hall. Since Chu Ye and Qian Renxue want to do it, they will naturally not refuse. I have no objection. I have no objection either. The elders began to express their opinions. Then it is approved. The Spirit Hall will establish the Supervisory Hall. The status of the Supervisory Hall will be above the Spirit Hall and below the Pope's Hall. Bai Dong said. Chapter 70. Evil Soul Master Gang. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue smiled at each other. From now on, the Spirit Hall will have one more level of branch halls. The Pope Hall will be at level 2, the Supervisory Hall will be at level 3, and the Spirit Halls in the capitals of the two empires will be downgraded to level 4, with the lowest level branch halls at level 7. Bai Dong said again. The Supervisory Hall will be under your full control, and you will recruit personnel on your own. Okay, teacher. Chu Ye smiled. The Supervisory Hall has a higher status than the Spirit Hall, and can also monitor the personnel of the branch halls across the continent. They don't need to recruit people, in fact, there will be a group of people who want to rush in. They only need to select qualified personnel. The establishment of the Supervisory Hall can be regarded as Chu Ye training a team of soul masters that belongs to him. I called you back this time because there is actually one more thing I want you to do. Bai Dong paused and continued. Recently, a group of evil soul masters have appeared in the border area between the two empires. Our Spirit Hall has suppressed evil soul masters for generations, and they must be eradicated once they are discovered. And the leader of this group of evil soul masters has reached the Soul Empire level, and the number of their members is unknown. They have now gone into hiding and their whereabouts are unknown. However, we have tracked down the whereabouts of two members of the evil soul master gang. At the moment, they are temporarily hiding in the Stardew Great Forest. Your task is to assist the Spirit Hall personnel who are dealing with the Evil Soul Masters, capture the Evil Soul Masters hiding in the Stardew Great Forest, and then find out the Evil Soul Master gang behind them, and finally wipe them out in one fell swoop. They actually asked us to deal with the Evil Soul Masters. Although Chu Ye was a little surprised, he agreed with Qian Renxue without any hesitation. We understand. They carry the heavy responsibilities of the Spirit Hall's top management, and they will definitely be assigned various tasks to speed up their practical experience and growth. In addition to the two of you, there are several disciples who will go with you. Come in. After Bai Dong finished speaking, the door slowly opened and a total of 7 people walked in, including Xiu, Yan, Leona, and the remaining 4 people, who were also the main members of the future Within Hall's battles and the core disciples that the Pope Hall focuses on training. They are Ping, Sun Chuantao, Li Gai, and Zhu Yu. Xiu's soul power is currently level 29, and she is 12 years old. Yan's soul power is level 29, and she is 12 years old. Leona's soul power is level 24, and she is 10 years old. Ping, a girl, 13 years old, has a beast spirit of golden wasted flying swallow, a spirit master of the agility attack department, and a spirit power of 29. Sun Chuantao, 14 years old, has a weapon spirit of ringed giant blade, a spirit master of the power attack department, and a spirit power of 33. Li Gai, 14 years old, has a beast spirit of black horned wild boar, a spirit master of the power attack department, and a spirit power of 32. Zhu Yu, 15 years old, has a weapon spirit of golden scepter, a spirit master of the auxiliary department, and a spirit power of 33. Chu Ye naturally knew them, and knew that they were also outstanding in the same level, but following him to deal with the Evil Soul Master, it would be easy to get into trouble. What if they died? Chu Ye said. Teacher, they are going with us. This is not good. The Evil Soul Masters are a group of extremely evil people who kill people without blinking an eye. This trip is very dangerous for them. What if something happens? It's time for them to go out for training. If they grow up in a greenhouse blindly, they can't become real strong people. They also need to experience some wind and rain. Chu Ye, you will lead them out as the captain of the team. When you eradicate the Evil Soul Master gang, you must also ensure the safety of each of your members and bring them back without missing a single one. Bai Dong said decisively. The top management decided to let these disciples follow, and they really wanted to train this group of disciples, but in fact there was another purpose, which was to cultivate Chu Ye's team leadership, command combat capabilities, and cultivate the style of leadership. Instead of being independent all the time, after all, the years to come along, and all battles are not enough for one person, but also require teams, even groups, and even large-scale armies. As a saint, it is very necessary to cultivate leadership skills. Okay. Chu Ye had no choice but to accept. Of course, it would be easier for him and Qian Renxue to go out alone. If they took these disciples with them, they would have to consider how to protect them. You'll leave now. As for the inspection hall, I will have people build it and announce it for you. Yes. Your Holiness. Everyone responded and followed Chu Ye out of the Elder Hall. Bai Dong asked people to build a supervision hall and advertise it. It will not only be for the spirit masters of the spirit hall, but also for the free spirit masters of the whole continent. Of course, other sects, families, or spirit master forces can also switch to it. When Chu Ye comes back, he only needs to pick people. After leaving the Elder Hall, Chu Ye glanced at the members of his team, and finally his eyes fell on Elena. Hey, forget about the others. Nana, why did the teacher ask you to go too? Elena is too young compared to others, and her level is not good enough. Chu Ye said. Nana was not originally on the list of personnel. It was Nana who asked His Holiness the Pope to take her with him. I want to go too. Elena pouted. Qian Renxue said. Forget it, Chu Ye, since it has been decided, let's not talk about this. Okay, I just want to emphasize one point. You must obey my command and orders for this mission. No one is allowed to act without authorization. Can you do it? Chu Ye looked at them. No problem. Everyone expressed their opinions. Only Yan hugged his chest and said nothing. Yan. Chu Ye glanced at him. Yes. I will follow your command, I will follow your command. Yan said not very obediently. Chu Ye didn't bother with him and looked forward. Let's go. This time, the evil Soul Master team was discovered by the local Wuhan sub-palace. They asked the Pope's palace to dispatch Soul Masters for support, and the 9-man team headed by Chu Ye was the Soul Master personnel going to the resources. The 9 people set off quickly and arrived at the front line, the entrance of the Qingdou Great Forest after a long time. At the entrance, a spirit master from the Wuhan sub-hall was already there to meet them. Seeing the Wuhan hall logo on Chu Ye and the others, the spirit master from the sub-hall was stunned. Ah? Why are they all young people? Are you all spirit masters sent by the Pope's palace to reinforce? Yes. Chu Ye gave a brief introduction. Hearing that the Holy Son and the young master were here in person, the spirit master from the sub-hall hurriedly knelt down. Subordinate, greet the young master, greet His Highness the Holy Son. Get up quickly and tell us about the current situation. Okay. The spirit master from the sub-hall stood up and then explained. At present, we have found 2 evil spirit masters from the evil spirit master gang, both of whom are high-level spirit masters. Now they are hiding in the Qingdou Great Forest. We have roughly determined their location. They are located in the mountains in the outer area of the Qingdou Great Forest. They have not been found yet. As he said this, he took out a map to show Chu Ye. Chu Ye nodded. It would be much easier to roughly determine the location. Otherwise, the Qingdou Great Forest is also very large, and finding someone is like looking for a needle in a haystack. In the next chapter, Gilliana will be online. Chapter 71 Gilliana. Silver Dragon King awakens. Let's go. Yes. Chu Ye led everyone to rush into the forest quickly. After walking a distance, he stopped and took out a huge piece of fur. What is this? Chu Ye and others were confused, and they didn't know why Chu Ye took this thing out. This is the fur of the 10,000-year-old shadow demon cat. We killed one last time and cut it from it. Chu Ye said, while using the sword of gods and demons to divide the fur into 10 parts, and then let them put it on one by one. Many soul beasts have a sense of smell far superior to humans. In many cases, they will use smell to identify whether other soul beasts can be provoked. The smell of the 10,000-year-old shadow demon cat's fur is enough for us to walk sideways in the outer area. Soul beasts will not choose to attack us, which can avoid a lot of trouble. It can also be like this. Chu Ye and others have learned a lot. There are too many soul beasts in the Qingdou Great Forest. Using the smell of powerful soul beasts directly can disperse most of the soul beasts. Chu Ye originally intended to take the fur of the shadow demon cat back and have someone make a set of demon cat couple costumes for him and Qian Renxue, but but now he had no choice but to use it this way. Let's go. Chu Ye led the team to continue their journey until they reached the mountain. Along the way, no soul beast appeared in front of them. Your Highness, the two evil soul masters are hiding in this mountain. The soul master of the Sun Hall pointed to the front. Chu Ye looked around and saw that the people at the spirit hall had surrounded them. In the sky, several soul masters with bird-like spirits were searching in the sky. There were also several soul masters with good reconnaissance ability in the mountain, leading the search. But after all, it was not a small mountain. If the other party had a little anti-reconnaissance ability, it would be a bit difficult to find them. And the evil soul master who was hated by everyone must have a certain anti-reconnaissance ability. Lead guy, if I remember correctly, your black horned boar spirit is extremely sensitive to smell, right? Chu Ye asked. In fact, none of the geniuses that the spirit hall has focused on cultivating are ordinary. Most of the spirits are of top quality, and some beast spirits will give the specialties of a certain beast. Li Kai said confidently. Yes, after the spirit is attached, my sense of smell can reach at least 500 meters away. If it is within 200 meters, no matter how the opponent covers up the smell, it can't escape my nose. Yo, okay. Chu Ye nodded. Everyone knows that dogs have very sensitive noses, but in fact few people know that the sensitivity of pigs' sense of smell is at least 2 to 3 times that of dogs. Are there any items on the evil spirit masters? There are fragments of clothes on them. Li Kai said. Enough, let me smell it, and I can remember their smell. Soon, Li Kai, now you lead the way and we go up the mountain to search for evil spirit masters. Okay. Li Kai was full of energy, trying to smell the smell of evil spirit masters all the way, and unknowingly time had come to late at night. Everyone still didn't stop looking. At this time, Li Kai suddenly became excited. I smelled it, I smelled their scent. It's about 500 meters away. Let's go. This is the role of having a soul master with extremely strong reconnaissance function. Others may not be able to find it for several days, but with such a person, it may not take a day. Everyone quickly followed Li Kai and ran. 400 meters. 300 meters. 200 meters. Li Kai frowned. Their scent disappeared. He could only feel the residual smell leading the way forward. Soon, everyone came to a pool of water. Li Kai touched his head and was a little confused. Strange, their scent suddenly disappeared here. Everyone looked around, and soon, at least half of the people seemed to have thought of something. Just as they were about to speak, Chu Ye immediately signaled them not to speak. Quiet. That's right, Chu Ye also guessed that the two evil soul masters were hiding under the pool at this moment. The water completely covered their smell. The two evil soul masters held their breath and lay under the pool, looking up with cold eyes full of murderous intent. Here. Chu Ye showed a hint of coldness on his face. He glanced at the water surface and signaled everyone to disperse and surround the pool. The two evil soul masters had not yet realized that they had been exposed. The next second, golden light flashed in the sky, and countless light points condensed into lightsabers. Divine light sword rain. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Countless lightsabers pierced into the pool. Fuck. The two evil soul masters rushed out of the water, but they had been hit by multiple lightsabers, covered in blood, and were seriously injured. Damn it. Run away. The two evil soul masters immediately turned into black shadows and fled quickly. Their martial spirits were a bit similar to the ghosts of Douluo, with a certain flying ability, and they rushed out of the encirclement directly. Want to leave? It's not that easy. Dragon God wings. A pair of dragon wings emitting 9-color light appeared behind Chu Ye. Angel wings also appeared behind Qian Renxue. The two flapped their wings and flew up at the same time, stabbing with a sword. At the same time. At the moment when Chu Ye released the external soul-bone dragon god wings, the Silver Dragon King who had been hiding in the depths of the Xingdou Great Forest to recuperate suddenly woke up. She opened her eyes instantly, with shock and confusion in her eyes. How can the power of the dragon god appear on a human being? What's going on? On the other side, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue had already knocked the evil soul master to the ground with a sword at the same time. Damn it. The two evil soul masters were ready to use their soul skills. Zhu. Chu Ye shouted immediately. Understood. Zhu also released his soul skills at that moment. The third soul skill, Light Seal. Zhu Yu, the most outstanding auxiliary soul master among the core disciples of the Spirit Hall. His martial soul, the Golden Scepter, may not be as good as the Seven Treasures Glazed Tower, but it is definitely also the best among the auxiliary martial souls on the mainland. The third soul skill, Light Seal, can directly seal the opponent's soul skills for a few seconds. What's going on? The soul skills are locked. The Golden Ring locked the release of the soul skills of the two evil soul masters. Well done, Zhu Yu. First soul skill, slash both gods and demons. Dark Battle. First soul skill, Angel Assault. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue immediately took action and attacked. Bang. The two screamed, no longer able to resist, and were quickly subdued. Tell me, where are your accomplices? At this moment, the two evil soul masters had been controlled by the crowd. Chu Ye stood in front of them and asked indifferently. Ha ha ha. I'm telling you. Come on. Kill me directly if you have the guts. The evil soul master looked arrogant and laughed, obviously no longer afraid of death. You won't say it, right? I just won't say it. What can you do to me? Ah. Boy. Puff. Ah. The next second, Chu Ye instantly cut off a finger of one of the evil soul masters. Chu Ye showed a wicked smile and half knelt in front of them. It doesn't matter, you cannot tell me, I won't kill you right away, but author. Recommend me another new book. If you're interested, you can take a look. The title is Douluo, Rebirth of the Deep Sea Demon Whale King. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 72. Dark Angel, the duality of the Seraph, light and darkness. I will chop off your fingers one by one, and then use the sword in my hand to cut off your flesh piece by piece. Don't worry, I will be careful and will not let you die. Think carefully, how painful it would be. How despairing, Hilly. Chu Ye smiled evilly. So cruel, everyone shuddered when they heard it. Chu Ye and Douluo felt that he was a bit cruel and brutal. Death is sometimes not the most terrible thing. What is terrible is that life is worse than death. In the constant torture, you want to die but can't. The two evil soul masters were immediately terrified, and panic was revealed in their eyes. You're the devil. At such a young age, your methods are so cruel. I think you are more evil than us evil soul masters. Puff. Ah. Chu Ye swung his sword again, and this sword directly cut off all 10 fingers of the two people. He sneered. I'm not kidding you. Either you are tortured by me endlessly, or you tell me the hiding place of your evil soul master gang, and then I will kill you quickly. I will tell you. We will tell you. The two evil soul masters completely collapsed. They couldn't stand such torture and told the truth. Our headquarters is hidden in Gushan Mountain. On the top of Gushan Mountain, we built a hidden basement there. How many people? In addition to the two of us, there are 13 evil soul masters hiding there. Our evil soul leader is at the Soul Emperor level, 2 soul masters, and the rest are soul lords. It's quite a lot. Chu Ye's face condensed slightly. Evil soul masters are a group of people who practice by devouring other people's soul power, flesh and blood, souls, martial souls, etc. If such evil soul masters want to become stronger faster, they must constantly kill, eat, and torture people. Because of this, they are not tolerated by the world and everyone wants to kill them. There are actually more than a dozen people in this gang. I don't know how many people they have harmed. Stop the bleeding for them, and then let them lead the way. Chu Ye said. Yes. Several spirit masters from the Wihun temple immediately bandaged them to prevent them from dying from excessive blood loss, and then took them to the drum mountain mentioned by the evil spirit master. On the way, Qian Renxue asked, Chu Ye, tell me, why don't these evil spirit masters go to the slaughter city? Chu Ye said. Although the slaughter city is a paradise of sin, countless evildoers who like to kill, or criminals who have no other choice will like to go there, but for some people, they probably don't want to go there unless they have to. After all, the slaughter city is basically in but not out. Why can't you get out? Qian Renxue asked with a puzzled look on her face. It seems that you, Chu Ye, don't know enough about the city of slaughter. Chu Ye smiled and explained, those who go to the city of slaughter must complete 100 consecutive victories in the hell-killing field. The person who finally breaks through the road to hell will be awarded the title of God of Slaughter and a gifted domain called the Domain of the God of Slaughter. Only the god of slaughter can enter and exit at will. And there are very few people who can do this. In thousands of years, less than 10 people have been able to pass the road to hell and obtain the title of god of slaughter. The two gods of slaughter still alive on the continent are your mother Bai Dong, another is Tang Dao, and the last one is the controller of the city of slaughter, the king of slaughter. I see. Qian Renxue was a little surprised after listening. She had heard of the city of slaughter, but had not understood it in depth. She suddenly found that when Chu Ye was explaining, there was expectation and yearning in his eyes. Qian Renxue seemed to have noticed something and asked, Chu Ye, you don't want to go to the slaughter city, do you? Chu Ye did not hide it. Well, I actually have this plan. Qian Renxue suddenly began to worry and persuaded. Chu Ye, there is no need for this. With your talent, you don't need to go to the slaughter city or obtain the killing god domain. I believe you can also become an extremely powerful person. There is no need to take risks in such a dangerous place. What if? Chu Ye smiled and said, Zhuye, don't worry. You and I signed a life and death contract. I will not joke about our lives. Before I am sure, I will not enter the slaughter city without permission. Seeing that Chu Ye had made up his mind, Qian Renxue did not dissuade him anymore, but made a decision. Okay. Then I will go with you then. Okay, but Chu Ye thought, and then said, the murderous aura in the killing god domain may be incompatible with you, an angel. I am worried that the intervention of this killing power may not be a good thing for you. The six-winged angel martial spirit, in fact, has two sides like the sword of gods and demons, half light and half dark. The six-winged angel spirit is the spirit blessed by the god of angels. It is because of the blessing of the god that it has the innate level 20 soul power, which is different from Chu Ye's quality reaching the god level spirit. It is also because of the God-given spirit that every person with the six-winged angel spirit is also endowed with the dark side of the god of angels' own spirit, that is, the dark six-winged angel hidden in it. It's just that light swallows darkness, and darkness is extremely weak. Under normal circumstances, people with six-winged angel spirits will not have the dark angel side. Only those who inherit the test of the god of angels will have the dark six-winged angel infinitely magnified through the darkness in their heart when they touch the artifact angel holy sword. Therefore, the inheritor of the six-winged angel needs pure light. If it is contaminated with the murderous aura of the killing god domain, then in the future, when Qian Renxue is taking the Angel 9 tests, she is likely to be swallowed by the dark angel and become a fallen black angel. Of course, this is just Chu Ye's current guess. Okay. Qian Renxue responded, but in her heart she still wanted to accompany him. While the two are communicating, they led the team to escort the two evil soul masters out of the Xingdou Great Forest. On the other side, seeing Chu Ye, who possessed the power of the dragon god, was leaving the Xingdou Great Forest, Gyuana seemed to have made a major decision after careful consideration. She contacted the hundreds of thousands of soul beasts who were also in a dormant state in the Xingdou Great Forest, the golden-eyed black dragon king, Daitian. Deep in the ground, a huge black dragon opened its eyes, and its terrifying aura was full of respect. My lord. Daitian, I decided to leave the retreat early and go to the human world. My lord, why? Daitian could not understand the sudden decision of the Silver Dragon King. I felt the power of the dragon god in a human boy, although that power was in a sealed state. What? How could a human being? Daitian was extremely surprised. I don't understand either, but my intuition tells me that I have to go and find that human boy. I understand, my lord, but your injury, no problem. After the two sides finished communicating, the golden-eyed black dragon king Daitian gradually closed his eyes and fell into a deep sleep. Not long after, the silver dragon king completely disappeared in this star forest. Chapter 73 Qian Renxue fights Soul Emperor and Evil Soul Master alone. On the other side, Chu Ye led a team of 9 people and some of the spirit masters of the sub-palaces to the foot of the drum mountain mentioned by the evil spirit master, and then quickly rushed to the top of the mountain. At this time, the evil spirit master gang hidden in the basement on the top of the mountain saw that their other 2 members had not returned yet, and they were really uneasy and planned to move their positions. I'm afraid they can't come back, and they may expose our position. There is no other way. Let's go to the killing city. Let's go. The Soul Emperor Evil Spirit Master was quite decisive and left with his subordinates. But they didn't expect that the people from the Spirit Hall had already arrived. The two sides met by chance while going down the mountain and going up the mountain. Damn it, our position has indeed been exposed. Let's go. The face of the Soul Emperor Evil Spirit Master suddenly became ferocious, and he led his subordinates to flee in the opposite direction immediately. At that moment, the group of people all emitted blue-black gas. This is a feature that the evil spirit masters cannot hide. Once their minds are shaken a little, the blue-black gas will emerge from their bodies uncontrollably, so you can tell at a glance that they're evil spirit masters. Chase. Wings immediately appeared behind Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, flapping their wings to shake off the crowd and chase after them. Hush. Bang. After a while, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue had already caught up with them and blocked their way. Where are you going? Chu Ye sneered, and the two released their martial spirits and spirit rings at the same time, pointing their swords at them. Qian Renxue said seriously, "You evil people, surrender." Damn it. The face of the Soul Empire Evil Soul Master was completely ferocious, and a fierce look appeared on his face. Two little kids dare to block me. You are looking for death. The face of the Soul Empire Evil Soul Master suddenly burst into a manic blue-black aura, intending to kill Chu Ye and Qian Renxue directly. But he underestimated the power of Chu Ye and Qian Renxue. What? The two sides confronted each other head-on, and there was no difference in strength. These two little kids are not simple. The Soul Empire Evil Soul Master continued to output energy to fight. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue also increased their soul power output. As the two sides fought against each other, Chu Ye clearly felt that the strength of this evil Soul Master of Soul Emperor seemed to be far beyond that of an ordinary Soul Emperor. At this time, Chu Ye and others also came from the rear, attacking from the front and back, and the two sides started fighting directly. Don't be careless. This group of evil Soul Masters are stronger than Soul Masters of the same level. Just open your martial soul and kill the enemy with all your strength. Chu Ye immediately reminded his team members. Received. Open your martial soul. Shiyu, Yan, Leona, and the other four all released their martial souls. Go. The number of Soul Masters on Chu Ye's side was 3 times that of the other side, but most of them were also at the Soul Master level. The strongest one was only a Soul King, the Master of the Sud Hall. However, under the suppression of numbers, Chu Ye's side was gradually killing the evil Soul Masters of the other side. As long as Chu Ye and Qian Renxue hold back this Soul Empire Evil Soul Master, the other party will be killed one by one soon. At the time, they only need to besiege the Soul Empire Evil Soul Master alone, and the victory will sooner or later belong to the Spirit Hall. The Soul Empire Evil Soul Master also realized this, so he must kill Chu Ye and Qian Renxue as soon as possible. Go to hell. Behind the Soul Empire Evil Soul Master, a red dark ghost spirit appeared, and he used his third spirit skill to kill him. However, Qian Renxue only used the first spirit skill to repel it. My 6-winged angel spirit has an absolute suppressive power against dark attribute spirit masters. Chu Ye, you go and help them eliminate the group of evil spirit masters as soon as possible, and leave this guy to me. Qian Renxue stood up straight, the wind blew her beautiful golden hair slightly, and she raised a confident face on her face. Okay, Zhuye, then you be careful. Chu Ye nodded and quickly rushed into the battlefield on the other side. Die. As soon as he came in, he cut off the head of an evil soul master with one sword. Here, Qian Renxue had already started a direct confrontation with the Soul Empire Evil Soul Master. She was only a level 46 Soul Sect, but she was suppressing the level 69 Soul Emperor. And the strength of this Soul Empire Evil Soul Master was actually equivalent to that of a Soul Saint. My wife is so powerful. Chu Ye was completely relieved when he saw this. If it were him, he might not be able to suppress this Soul Empire Evil Soul Master, but Qian Renxue could do it. Chu Ye knew that it was because the power of the sacred light of the 6-winged angel had absolute restraint on darkness. But in fact, Qian Renxue has always been very strong. Chu Ye has never really fought with Qian Renxue with all his strength, but he knew that if he didn't have the Phoenix Soul Bone, he might not be able to defeat her. He retracted his gaze and planned to kill the remaining evil soul masters in seconds. The black 10,000-year soul ring appeared under his feet. Chu Ye's killing intent rose. Third soul skill, 36 consecutive slashes of gods and demons. Rest. Puff. After Chu Ye slashed an evil soul master's neck with a sword, blood gushed out, and his combo officially began. Puff. Puff. Ah! Screams began to sound one after another. Chu Ye was even able to accurately combo and kill the enemy when the enemy and our side were mixed. Shiyu and others were dumbfounded, watching Chu Ye's figure flash around them. Every time he flashed, an evil soul master would be killed. Too strong. Shiyu, Yan, Leona and others were dumbfounded. They realized that the gap between themselves and Chu Ye was getting bigger and bigger. Not long after, there were only 2 evil soul masters who reached the level of soul sect. 12 consecutive cuts. 13 cuts. 15 cuts. 20 cuts. Puff. Ah. The 2 soul sect evil soul masters eventually died under the God and Demon 36 combos, and even his combo was not finished. On the other side. 6th soul skill, Fierce Demon Hand. 4th soul skill, Angel Whirlwind Wing Slash. The 2 energies of light and darkness slammed head-on, and soon, light swallowed up darkness. The Soul Empire Evil Soul Master was severely injured and fell to the ground, and was hit by Qian Renxue in front of Chu Ye. Damn. This girl, she is obviously just a Soul Master, but she is so strong. The Soul Empire covered his chest, blood kept coming out of his mouth, and he also realized that Chu Ye was standing behind him. Hey. Chu Ye's voice sounded, and the Soul Empire raised his head and saw Chu Ye's cold face. He was immediately terrified. Little brother, spare my life, please, spare my life. You garbage don't deserve to live, go to hell. No, don't. Puff. Before he could react, Chu Ye's sword had already cut his throat. You. Blood gushed out of the Soul Emperor's neck crazily, and he stared at Chu Ye with an unwilling face, dying with his eyes open. At this time, the Lord of the Sub-Palace hurriedly stepped forward and flattered. Young Master, and His Royal Highness the Holy Sun, your heroes are truly admired and worshipped by your subordinates. In the future, Young Master and His Royal Highness the Holy Sun will become peerless masters. Chapter 74. Yuena. My name isn't you flatter me. Chu Ye replied casually, and then said, the next cleanup work will be handed over to your people in the Sub-Palace. We will go back to the Pope's palace first. Okay. Let's go. The mission of eradicating the evil spirit master was completed, and Chu Ye returned with a team of 9 people. The master of the Sub-Palace looked at the backs of Chu Ye and Qian Renxue as they left, with a look of great respect. You are really young and promising. In the future, the Wihun Palace will be led by His Highness the Holy Sun and the young master, and it will be more glorious. Ugh. On the way down the mountain, Shiyu, Yan, Elena and the 7 people felt nauseous and vomited repeatedly. After all, it was the first time for them to see someone being killed, so it was normal to have such a reaction. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue had long been accustomed to it. Seeing that Chu Ye and Qian Renxue had no reaction at all, the 7 people admired them very much, and the strength they showed today also made these geniuses admire them. Yan was not unconvinced at all. In the future, they would follow the lead of Chu Ye, the Holy Sun. Everyone went down the mountain, but just after they got off the drum mountain, they unexpectedly saw a little girl who was less than 6 years old on the roadside in front of them. The little girl had short silver hair, extremely moving amethyst-like eyes, and some dirt on her fair skin and clothes, which looked dirty. But it couldn't cover up the girl's beauty and the unique temperament she exuded. Look, there's a little girl in front. Strange, why is there a little girl here? Was she captured by those evil soul masters? You're stupid. If she was captured by the evil soul masters, how could she stay here unscathed now? Did she get separated from her family? Everyone started to communicate, and Qian Renxue said, let's go over and take a look. Qian Renxue took the lead and walked towards the little girl, but Chu Ye stayed where he was, looking at the little girl, with confusion and shock in his eyes. Silver Dragon King Yuena. No, it's n. Seeing that a group of people suddenly surrounded her, the little girl was a little scared and hugged her head and shrank her body. Sensing the little girl's fear, Qian Renxue carefully asked the others to step back a few steps, then half-crouched in front of her, smiled slightly, and said very gently, don't be afraid, little sister, we are not bad people. Why are you here alone? Where are your parents? Can you tell your sister? The little girl was very shy and taciturn, and seemed to be a more introverted personality. Facing Qian Renxue's question, she just shook her head. Qian Renxue patiently asked, then do you know where your home is? Sister, can I take you back, okay? The little girl shook her head again. Qian Renxue was a little difficult to deal with. She didn't know how she came here, who her parents were, and where her home was. How could she send the little girl back to her family? At this time, Chu Ye came over. He asked a question very concernedly, as if to confirm the answer in his heart. What is your name? The little girl raised her head for the first time and looked directly into Chu Ye's eyes. There was actually a little more kindness in her eyes. The aura on Chu Ye made her less afraid, and she replied once. My name isn't. I'll go. Although Chu Ye had already confirmed the 7th level, he was still surprised to find that the little girl in front of him was Qian, the Silver Dragon King transformed by the goodness of the Dragon God. How could it be? How could she come out so early? Could it be? Qian was far from being present in this era, but from 10,000 years later. The only reason Chu Ye could think of for Qian to wake up early might be his external soul bone, the wings of the Dragon God. Qian Renxue was still asking carefully. At this time, Chu Ye gently patted her shoulder and made a decision. Swear, don't ask, take her back to the Pope's palace. It seems that this is the only way for now. Qian Renxue also saw that the little girl was obviously amnesiac. Chu Ye also half knelt in front of him, slowly stretched out his hand, and said gently, "Are you willing to go with us?" Since Qian has appeared, Chu Ye will definitely keep her by his side and treat her well. After all, his Dragon God wings need the help of the Silver Dragon King and the Golden Dragon King to truly awaken. Qian Renxue also stretched out her hand. "Yeah, let's take care of you first, okay?" Hesitated for a moment and nodded. "Yeah." Then she stretched out a small jade hand and placed it on Chu Ye's palm first, and then placed the other hand on Qian Renxue's palm. The two of them held his little hand at the same time and pulled her up, and took her away from here. Along the way, his stomach kept rumbling. "You're hungry? Sisters, where will give you something to eat." Seeing this, Qian Renxue took the initiative to take out some food from the Space Soul Guide, including fruits, bread, and various snacks. He wanted to eat, but was a little hesitant. Chu Ye said, "Eat it with confidence." Actually dispelled her doubts in an instant. "Okay." She responded and immediately took the food and started eating. Qian Renxue puffed up her face, not understanding at all, and said, "Chu Ye, how can she trust you so much?" "I don't know either." Chu Ye shrugged. After a while, finished all the food, but her stomach was still rumbling. This girl is quite good at eating. Qian Renxue took out some more food, and even took out all the food from the 9-member team, but still finished it all, and it seemed that she was not full yet. His appetite is too amazing. Everyone was shocked. Chu Ye smiled bitterly in his heart. It's worthy of being a dragon. After returning to the Pope's palace, Chu Ye kept her in his own home. He originally planned to let him go to Qian Renxue's place, but she seemed to want to follow Chu Ye more. "You are dirty, go take a shower first. Sisters Ware and your brother Chu Ye will prepare some food for you." "Well, okay." Nodded obediently. The relationship between the three of them has become much more familiar, and was also more cheerful than at the beginning. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue planned to cook by themselves. In fact, Chu Ye was quite creative in cooking in his previous life. Chu Ye is the chef, and Qian Renxue assists, helping with side dishes and cutting vegetables. The two of them started to get busy in the kitchen. The two of them matched each other, talking and laughing, playing while cooking, full of sweetness. Chu Ye quickly started to fry his best dish, fried pork with peppers. Qian Renxue smelled the fragrance coming from her nose and was so greedy. "Wow, it smells so good, no, I want to have a bite first." As she said that, Qian Renxue picked up the chopsticks and reached into the pot, wanting to pick up a piece of meat to eat first. Chu Ye quickly took action, slapped Qian Renxue's restless back of the hand, and said seriously, "Why are you in such a hurry? It's not even out of the pot yet." Chapter 75 Awakens, Silver Dragon Spear. "But, I want to try it first." Qian Renxue acted coquettishly. Facing Qian Renxue's coquettishness, Chu Ye really had no way to deal with it. He smiled helplessly. Okay, I'll pick up a piece for you. Open your mouth." Chu Ye picked up a piece of meat and fed it to Qian Renxue's mouth. Qian Renxue slightly opened her pink lips, ate it in one bite, chewed it at the corner of her mouth, and said with great enjoyment, "It's delicious." "Okay, go get the plate quickly, it's ready to be served." Chu Ye doted on Qian Renxue's nose. After the two of them had almost prepared the meal, and also finished her bath, she washed off all the dirt on her body, put on the white dress that Qian Renxue had prepared for her, and walked out. Without the dirt covering her, his fair and clean face had no flaws. Her lovely face seemed to melt Qian Renxue's heart. I didn't expect him to be so beautiful and so cute. It's really amazing. Chu Ye looked at her. He knew very well that Qian would definitely be a goddess among goddesses when she grew up. In his opinion, Qian was one of the most beautiful women in Douluo, and she should be no less beautiful than Qian Renxue. She was so stunning at such a young age. When she grows up, she will be so beautiful. Sister Swear is also very beautiful. And said, "Ha ha, okay, come to the table and eat." Okay then, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue brought the food to the table. The three of them sat at the table and ate happily. This scene actually felt like a family of three. In the evening, N fell asleep early. Chu Ye looked at N, who was sleeping soundly, and his eyes showed a sense of responsibility. He then slowly closed the door and walked to the balcony with Qian Renxue. He decided to tell Qian Renxue about N's identity. Swear, actually N was not a human. Seeing the serious expression on Chu Ye's face, Qian Renxue actually had a premonition that the next topic would not be simple, but she did not expect it to be like this. What? Not a human? You mean, N was a soul beast? Qian Renxue's eyes suddenly changed. No matter how cute N is, no matter how much she liked her before, soul beasts and humans are different after all. Soul beasts, in the eyes of humans or human soul masters in Douluo Continent, are like the modern world, how humans look at other animals. In the world dominated by humans, whether soul beasts or animals in the modern world, they are all resources or food in the eyes of humans. Humans are far superior to other creatures, animals, soul beasts, and they can be hunted at will, just like it's a matter of course. Moreover, there is no concept of raising pets in the Douluo world, let alone anyone who will have feelings for soul beasts. Of course, there will be people like Tang Yao and Tang San, who fell in love with a soul beast that has transformed for 100,000 years without knowing it. So, when Qian Renxue learned that N was not a human, her feelings for N changed significantly. It's not an ordinary soul beast. To be precise, N is not a soul beast, but a beast creature that is far superior to soul beasts. Chu Ye explained. In fact, soul beasts are just a kind of beast. There are also the existence of strange beasts, and many of the beast gods who fell during the dragon god period were not soul beasts. Qian Renxue didn't quite understand what Chu Ye meant, but in her mind, it was almost the same as a soul beast. Chu Ye, since you know it, you still treat her like this. N's existence has a special meaning to me. I need to keep her by my side. But, if you take her back to the Pope's palace now, once she is discovered, even we can't protect her, right? Don't worry, except for God, I don't think anyone can tell that she is not human. Chu Ye shook his head and smiled. Just kidding, the existence transformed by the kindness of the Dragon God, Silver Dragon King Yuena, is at least at the level of God King. Even if her injuries have not recovered now, she still has the strength of God. Can her transformation be the same as that of an ordinary 100,000-year soul beast? Moreover, Yuena's spiritual power was too terrifying. Even the peerless Luo could not bear it and absorb her as a spirit ring. Swear, let's treat her as a human first and accompany her to grow. In the next period of time, Chu Ye mainly focused on improving his spirit power level. He planned to raise his spirit power to level 40 first. In addition, he had to be busy with the affairs of the supervisory hall. When he reached level 40, he would get the reward of Task 4, the God and Demon in One Thought, Li Xin's hero power. At the time, his combat power would increase again, and he would have enough capital to go to the Slaughter City and obtain the Killing God domain. Soon, half a year later, Chu Ye's spirit power had been raised from level 37 to level 39. There was only one step left to level 40. He stopped practicing and came to the balcony, looking into the distance, and this direction was the direction of Noting City. In a few months, Tang San will leave the novice village of Holy Soul Village, right? Chu Ye thought in his heart, and he suddenly found that he didn't care much about Tang San anymore. Not only did he sigh a little, Tang San, when I first came to this world, I cared so much about your existence, but now, you seem to be just that in my eyes. After all, Tang San existed as the protagonist of the original world. When Chu Ye first arrived, he thought Tang San was a big threat. But as time passed, Chu Ye became stronger and stronger. Even when Tang San came out of the mountain and went to Noting College, he had already broken through to level 40. Whether it was his own strength, the gap in soul power level, or his current status, and his control over the future situation, Chu Ye understood that Tang San could no longer make any big waves. He slowly withdrew his thoughts and found that Qian Renxue were already standing behind him. He pulled the corner of Chu Ye's clothes and said obediently, "Brother Chu Ye is ready. Okay, come with me." Was 5.5 years old when she transformed. Now half a year has passed, and she has reached the age of 6 years old when a normal human awakens his martial spirit. Chu Ye did not plan to let N awaken with the other children. He would awaken himself. He did not want to attract too much attention. Let's start. Stand still and don't panic no matter what happens. Chu Ye had already prepared the Awakening Stone and the Soul Power Ball to test soul power. Awakening martial souls is a skill that a great soul master can master as long as he learns it. I got it. Seeing this, Chu Ye mobilized the Awakening Stone and surrounded his body. Soon, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue saw a silver spear appear on his right hand. The spear was more than 2 meters long and had fine silver scales. The scales were hexagonal, very delicate and uniform, and exuded an extraordinary aura. Silver Dragon Spear. I see. The Silver Dragon Spear was a super artifact of the Silver Dragon King Yuan. Now, it has become his martial soul. And the martial soul of the super artifact is at least your god-level martial soul. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.